It's not 2 o'clock, but it's nearly there, and we're live, and it's wonderful. Thank you very much for joining me on this very bright and beautiful actual Sunday. This is indeed a simulcast. Today we're simulcasting on YouTube, on my YouTube channel right here. We're also simulcasting right here on TikTok as well. I joined TikTok last year sometime. I did one TikTok and did nothing else and left it at that, and then I did another couple in March or something, and then on Monday I started doing some more TikToks, and I had 1,200 subscribers or followers or something on Monday, and now today I have 25,000. So it's been a pretty, there's a community of like-minded car people on TikTok that I didn't expect to be there, but they are there. So welcome TikTok to the madness. The audio quality is a lot better on YouTube, and I hope everybody's able to hear me perfectly well. Thank you very much for joining me again. There's a few of you here. Chat rate is 1. Where does it come up with the chat? How many people? Oh yeah, here we go. Concurrent viewers. Okay, so in my bio on TikTok, you'll find a link to the YouTube channel. Come over and join us there if you want to. Derek Norris said afternoon all 12 today. Some of you have been waiting for a while for this to happen. That's lovely. We'll talk amongst ourselves for a bit till everybody settles in. We get tons of, my God, there's already 6,000 million questions on TikTok. Well done. This is deadly. Anyway, Owen Jennings. Should the government really allow diesel to get any cheaper? Isn't it damaging to the drive to electric? So the idea that we're racing somehow to electric is kind of bullshit. I know I don't really mean to say that. I hate this idea that there's some sort of massive mad urgency, and yet electric cars are 3% of the whole market. Diesel and petrol far outsell them, by far miles away outsell them. Second-hand market is by far and away conquered by diesel and petrol. So you can't. Who has the money for electric? Like, they're €50,000, and even if you go for a Renault Zoe, which is probably one of my favourite kind of electric cars, still 25, 30, 40 grand. Or, you know, just when you start to spec the things out and you're trying to get a car and it has to be heavily financed, and your VRT is going down, we're going to be taxed to oblivion when the government realise that they're going to lose a fortune by everybody going electric. Just think about it. They're not going to remain as cheap as they are right now to run, and it's not going to help. The race to electric isn't really a race. It's rather a sort of a marathon. It might even be a very slow marathon. I spoke to a number of people who work for Volkswagen the other day, talking about the ID3, and I'm testing the ID3 tomorrow for a couple of days. I'm going to have the ID3. I'm going to drive the hell out of it and see how it's like. But I'm telling you now, they're saying even if we were to sell the maximum amount of electric cars we could lay our hands on today, all the companies, at best, there will be 300,000 electric cars on the road in 2030. So where's the race exactly? Where's the million cars going to come from? Like, where? So the vast majority of petrol and diesel owners are out there right now. Those guys need a break, lads. We pay tax through the nose the whole time for everything. Everything we do is taxed to the hell. So if diesel and petrol is getting a bit cheaper, and it has been steadily over the year, particularly from the pandemic times, been starting to get a little bit cheaper along the way. It's a little bit cheaper to get it fill up now. It's gone from like 70 quid a week to more like 65 or 63 or thereabouts to fill up your tank. So it's doing okay, you know. That's what we want to do. I actually seen the other day on the EV Owners Club Facebook thing, one of the guys did a round Ireland, 1,200 and something kilometres in a Tesla Model 3. It was fascinating to watch because we were discussing or looking at the various abilities of that car and the range and how far it could go and what it was like, how long it took him, 14 hours or something it took him to do. And I was actually thinking to myself, I might download his route and do it in a diesel car and just see how much that costs. Just try find something 2-litre diesel, a standard old Skoda or something, you know, anything normal, and just drive around the same route and see the difference in price. How much did he spend on that journey and how much I would spend on that journey, and just see is there a big difference in time and money and so on, you know. It'd be pretty cool. Wow, there's loads of you on TikTok as well. My God, it's swarming with people. I don't know what to do. I've got so many followers. Robert Van Sant retracted his message. Thank you, Robert. Murphy. Thanks, Murphy. Why do cyclists coast along, especially around bends coming up to a straight bit? Cyclists coast going through a very hard corner because they don't want to pedal, because they hit the pedal off the ground. I'm a cyclist. Cyclists also coast because they're bloody tired. That's pretty much it, because they're human power driving along their bicycle. I was out for a run this morning. I'm not a petrol head who's constantly doing donuts or breaking laws or speeding. I'm not that person. I'm just not. I am a person who appreciates a good vehicle, but I'm not a complete lunatic when it comes to these sort of driving around things. Limo Cotter says, I'm still in school, Bob. Do you think it's weird that I actually get motivation by watching luxury car reviews? No. But I tell you what, I'll give you a bit of advice. Rich people, really rich people, don't buy Ferraris and Porsches and all them things, those cars. People who work in IT and earn $100,000 a year, they actually buy them because they think that's a symbol of their wealth. Whereas rich people, really rich people, the symbol of wealth is like a yacht or a coastal property, or, you know, something that's actually beyond your means. That kind of stuff is where they normally go. I tell you what comes up a lot, actually. It's funny, what comes up a lot on TikTok is a field car. So a field car is a crap car that you would get and just drive around the field, you know, just wreck it in a couple of ways. And I've seen a few of them come up, and there's one I can tell you now would make a good car, because there's loads of them around, is either a Fiat 500 or a Fiat Panda. Either one of those two would make good little field cars, but you got to watch the Panda. They will flip over on the wrong kind of area. Eric Rocher's in the house. Thank you, Eric. Eric is, of course, one of our lovely subscribers. You're very kind to join. Not just subscriber, he is a supporter on Patreon. He's a supporter on our channel memberships and a supporter on PayPal. Amazingly, you can do the same thing if you want to. The links are in the list of links down below underneath this. And another little shout out as well I have to do. We have a channel sponsor here. It's called Noah. It is a sort of news aggregation system. So it takes in news stories from across the world and turns them into audio, similar to an idea of a podcast. So you sit back and you listen to the news, and it works perfectly with Apple CarPlay, Google Android. It even works if you don't have those in your car. If you just got Bluetooth, it works fine straight from your phone. It's a brilliant little app. It is normally a tenner a month, okay? But I got you a discount of 50%, and there is a link down below in the comments. You click on that and you can have it for 60 quid for the whole 12 months. It's a brilliant discount. All yours. Sign up for it. I do get a small amount of money that comes out of that money for the channel here to support the channel and keep it going. So if you don't want to support the channel through Patreon or PayPal or direct donations, that's another way to support the channel, and you get news in your inbox every single day from Noah, and it's very, very good. I've been listening to loads of stories over the last couple of weeks. It's deadly in the car. Instead of listening to kind of, you know the radio stations in Ireland that come on and go, today we have Anne, who can't explain why she's after getting holes in her t-shirt. And you know that stuff. It does away with that. You actually listen to the news you want to really listen to. So it's worth an investment. It's only 60 quid for the whole year. So you can have it all the way across, no matter what stories. It's not breaking stories, it's news analysts. So you're analysing the news, proper journalism, real journalism, where it's taken in and you try and figure out what is going on. The most popular car, I have to say, on TikTok currently right now is a BMW 520 diesel. It comes up all the time. Andy McAfee, bloody TikTok, he says. Bloody TikTok. Well, you know, for some people that don't like it, I'm not a Facebook fan. I don't really like the old Facebook thing, because Facebook feeds you all the stuff you don't want to see all the time, including a ton of ads. Twitter is just for posh people, I think. Now it's gone that way, and news, people who like the news, people who like to be irritated by the latest thing that's happening in the news. Whereas TikTok, since I've done the car end of it, I only see cars. I only see cool V8s and engines and guys fixing stuff and what do you call them cars? Smoky cars. Whatever you call them, smoky cars. TikTok will tell me in a minute what the car's called. It's called a Reiki car. Did you ever hear of a Reiki car? I'd never heard of this until I went to TikTok. It's basically a smoky diesel car. I'd never heard of one. How much is diesel now? Anywhere from about, I think I've seen 115.9 here in Portlaoise, but it might be cheaper or a little bit more expensive where you are, but it was around 115.9. So it's been going down all year. Essentially, it's been dropping down. COVID-19 would decrease demand for diesel. So summer does as well, of course, for home heating oil and any of that sort of product. Robert Van Sant, hi Bob. Not so sure diesel will be cheaper after the old Greens. Ryan and his cronies will jack up the price for fuel for sure. Lads, Eamon Ryan is already attacking your smallest move at the moment. The Green Party is on it and aware of your existence and wants rid of you. They want rid of you, essentially, because you're a motorist and they don't like you. That's that. Now, there is some good stuff. Essentially, road works. So, if you look at roads, if you make a wider road than it was before, you don't actually get more traffic into a city centre. You just get it there quicker. That's all that really happens. So the trick is to get less traffic on the road in the first place, like the N7 currently. So I've been driving down the N7 to go and collect cars recently, and I find that my journey is now nearly 20 to 30 minutes quicker because there's a new 120 section in the middle of it. And it's absolutely brilliant getting there and back. So I've really enjoyed that bit. That's been fun. But usually road widening, so you look at LA for instance. LA is a great example of people, if you listen to people talk about LA, basically they don't go to somebody else's house for a little trip out because it just takes too long. It's hours of sitting in traffic to try and cross the city, and yet they have 8, 9, 10 lane highways all going in one direction and they're full. So what's the point? Like, you just keep making it wider and it just gets worse. So the trick is to try and use cars less. That is the most important part. Peter Cupid says hi all. Anyone on TikTok wants to ask a question or anything like that, that's okay. I can't keep up with your questions. There's 2 gazillion of them going up and down the screen. So many of you. But you can come over to YouTube. There's a link in my bio. You can ask questions there. Marty O says greetings from my ID3. Marty O has already got one and has been entertaining us with stories of it. I can't wait to actually drive it, to be honest with you, because I've been playing with it for nearly 18 months or something. Something like that. Since there's a video on the channel of the actual launch of the thing at Frankfurt Motor Show or something. The actual reveal and me sitting inside it and messing around. So I've been listening to ID3 for like 2 years. Then I've seen the thing. Then I've seen the thing again in West. And then I've seen the thing again. Standing in front of it the other day up in Dublin, looking at it. And now tomorrow I'm picking one up. So I have to wait for it to be charged up. It's coming back. I think Eddie Cunningham has it. So it should be back fairly early anyway. Shane Houston, afternoon Bob, been a while. It hasn't been a while for me, Shane. Might have been a while for you. Welcome back to the fold. Thank you very much for joining us. Robert M, afternoon Bob, hope all is well. 'Tis perfectly. Keith Kim is here. Thank you, Keith. Brian O'Donnell, hi Bob and gang, hope all is safe and well. We're great, Brian. Thank you very much. Hellhound, hey up Bob and fellow Flavonites, hope you're all well. We're all good so far, I think. Anyone who's new to the stream will realise by now that the people who are regulars on the stream call themselves Flavonites, which is really handy. That's really good. Glad of that. Marty O has had his ID3 for 3 days now. Is that the ID3 first, isn't it? That's what you call that one. It's not the Founders Edition or something. Was the one that they cancelled, wasn't it? They got rid of that one. How many 6 to 15 second videos is this live stream broken into on TikTok? Not at all. It's just live on TikTok. It's just I can go live on TikTok. I think I have a big channel. I've actually got recognised more in the last week from TikTok than I ever have from YouTube. There's more Irish people on TikTok than there is on YouTube, but that's okay. I was literally making a TikTok the other day and 2 lads came running across to me to tell me that to watch out my TikToks, which is cool. So it's just another outlet. It's just another way of communicating with people, which is much easier to do on a sort of 15 to 1 minute video. Alan Burke, hi Bob and all, might be changing car new year, looking at a 2014 or 2015 Toyota Corolla or Seat Leon. What's your preference? So Corolla is a really good car. 2014 2015 is the first generation of the newer Corollas, but not the newest Corollas. You know, it's not the current kind of sleek looking one you see on the road. Seat Leon is the same. There's a newer Seat Leon out right now which looks a good bit different. But the one from 2014, 2015 looks like my one, actually, the one I own. Now, for drivability, the Leon would be the one, and I would probably go in a petrol version of it, although the diesels are very good. The Corolla, you could go a hybrid, you could go something like that, it'd be quite nice. They're nice enough cars, they're very reliable for sure, but whether you want to be a good driver, you know, have a bit of fun and mess around, or you want to be sort of more grown up about your driving experience, because the Corolla is more grown up. Owen MacDonald, how much of one of your videos do I have to watch for you to get credit for it to be viewed? Do I have to go to the very end? No, you don't really. YouTube don't really do a view thing. So generally speaking, once you've gotten by the ads and you're into 30 seconds of the video, you're counted as a single view. That's one view, right? But then you see to do it on watch time. So everything is about watch time after that. So if you don't watch any further than that 30 seconds, you might be counted as a view, but I don't get a penny for it because your watch time is not long enough. So I'm actually looking at the average watch time of today's stream, which says down here, it messes up. By the end, it'll be like 15 minutes or 15 or 20 minutes that you'll have watched. As a single viewer, the average watch time will come up as that. But on YouTube, it's all about watch time. So the longer you watch a video, the more invested you are in the video, the more things you do, like clicking like or share or that sort of stuff, you're counted as a different kind of viewer. And it's kind of the same actually on TikTok, to be honest. The algorithm is similar idea. So because they both show you how long somebody watches your video for. That's essentially what they're at. So a single view will be counted within the first 30 seconds, but you may not be what's called an invested viewer. So you're just watching 30 seconds, you go, nah, I'm gone, and that's it, and that's the end of your view time. So you could have 1 million views on a video and be making basically no money because they're not watching the whole 15 minutes of the video, they're watching the first 40 seconds, then they disappear. And that affects your overall watch time. It's a very complicated, long-winded sort of thing, but it affects your overall watch time on your channel watch time, and then you can get demonetized on the channel watch time, and it's a long. YouTube make it insanely complicated to be a YouTuber. Not only do you have to make the videos, edit the videos, answer all the questions, answer all the comments, moderate all the comments, put up your thumbnails, have the best thumbnails, have most watch time, create amazing content, but you also have to watch your taxes, take yourself as a sole trader. It's a huge business. You're not allowed to have adult content, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to have children feature. Now, it just goes on and on and on and on and all these rules. In actual fact, they don't really want me here, they don't really want anyone on YouTube that isn't a TV station already, because it's easy to moderate a TV station, and that's why. So there. Thoughts on a Honda Civic Type R, says Sen Kelly. Honda Civic Type R is actually pretty good, but I do find the suspension a bit hard. If you're young, possibly, and young bones and young muscles, you wouldn't mind it so much. But me, to live with a Honda Civic Type R every day, lads, you'd want to be bolt upright in the seat. It's just so firm all the time. It has a button, sport and not sport, but the not sport is hard, and in the sport is harder. So just seems too hard for me, to be honest with you. Mick Daly, question on EVs. If manufacturers are trying to increase the distances between charges, why then add every extra that they can, electric seats, etc., not just adding weight and cutting down on range? It's to hide the numbers. I don't want to give away too much here, boys, but basically what they're trying to attract you into EVs, and they're making it so the EV is like 50 grand to buy, but they're saying that it has active cruise control and it has heated seats and all that shit, right? So that's essentially how they're hiding the 50 grand in the car, so that you have to compare it as a journalist. You sit down and go, well, okay, well, how much is a Hyundai Kona entry level plus all this stuff on top of it? In actual fact, what we want from electric cars is a car that goes a long way without a huge amount of charging to be done. That's really all most EV owners really talk about. EV owners I equate a little bit towards sailors. So when you meet someone who sails yachts, all they talk about is wind, right? That's it. They talk about wind, and they talk about currents, and they talk about sails, and that's it. Electric car owners, all they talk about is range, battery, and charging things. That's it. That's the whole conversation. Look at any of the forums that are out there on boards, or look at them on Facebook or Reddit or any of those kind of things. That's all you see over and over and over again, is all of these questions about how far it goes, how long it takes to charge, how often you have to charge it, how often you have to turn it, all this stuff. So the problem then becomes, with electric cars, how do you attract people into them? It's just a car. I mean, it's just another car, right? You have to attract people to get into the cars. So they put in a lot of optional extras that would be just called standard then, and it makes it look expensive, but actually it's actually harming the range the whole time. They're getting better. The range is actually okay. Most electric cars now could cover Ireland fairly handy, but you will be charging more often. You will have to remember to charge things as well, as the other part of that. It's not the straight. I mean, I've come home here at night time and not plug the car in, then you forget and you just go to bed. And you get up the next morning, you go, no, the car's not bloody charged, you know. So it's just like this pain. It's a pain. Stephen Nolan says, can I set up my own insurance company and help out young people like myself? Technically, yes. There's actually nothing stopping you doing that, but you need a thing called an underwriter. So what's an underwriter? An underwriter is the person who actually guarantees the amount you're insured for. So an insurance company needs a bare minimum underwriter, and there's many underwriters out there. A lot of brokerages do this. You know, like 123.ie is underwritten by someone else. It's just called 123.ie, or it's just called AXA or Aviva or whatever they want to call it. But the underwriter actually pays the bill. So you have to have a certain amount of money in a bank account, essentially, that can pay out if all of your customers crashed in the morning, right? You have to be able to cover the insurable amount that goes out there. So technically, yes, you could help out young drivers. And someone like Quinn Direct did it years ago. He set up his own. Now it ended up tragically turning into something totally different, but they set up and targeted young drivers and gave cheap insurance. And I was a Quinn Direct customer for sure. They gave out cheap insurance to young drivers, and it probably came back and bit them in the arse after a few years, as predominantly most of their customers were young. And so there is much more of a chance of small dings and, you know, reversing incidents and learner drivers and all that sort of stuff. So it became a bit of a millstone that we're still paying for. We actually pay fines. Ordinary customers pay more insurance because Quinn Direct went out of business. Nathan Betts says, selling my 142 1 Series N Sport 110,000 kilometers or miles. Is that 110,000 miles? Opinions on value. Don't really do valuations, if I'm dead honest. The best way to get a valuation on your car in your country is go to your whatever your website. Here it'd be like Done Deal or Adverts or Car Zone or one of those kind of ones. Look up your exact car, see all the results, take all the results and average it out. So take 10 results, add up all the numbers and divide by 10, and you'll get an average price of your car in Ireland. Add 400 quid negotiation fee, and that's pretty much the price you're going to pay. That's the best way of doing it, because for me to value your car, I could say 10 grand, or I could say 5 grand, or I could say 20 grand, but sure, God knows the condition of your actual car. Stephen Nolan has put up a big YouTube logo. Well done. Dynamic frame. Dynamic frame. My God. What do you mean by what's dynamic frame? Tell me. Explain dynamic frame to me. Anyway. Hi Bob. Working from home today, so keep me going. Good man. Some car finance providers aren't willing to fully finance older diesels pre-2015, as many people take finance. This is killing them off. This is correct. Also, insurance companies are being let run rampant in this country, and they're riding roughshod over absolutely everything they want to do. It is definitely working together stuff. They are targeting everyone with the same rules. So what I'm saying to you is that it's almost a cabal. It's almost a group of people who are sitting down in a room and deciding rules, and then just enforcing those rules as a group, and we can do nothing about it. And this seems really unfair to me, because I've had young people on TikTok tell me they can't get a good car under 10 years old because insurance companies won't insure them on an older than 10-year-old car. I've had people tell me if I bought another car today, 11 years old, I wouldn't be able to get insurance for it because it's over 10 years old the first time I've had it, and it's over 10. And yet I can pass NCTs in these cars. So we have to do something. I'm telling you now that whether I lead it or you lead it or who leads it, I don't care. But we have to do something to stop this happening, because insurance companies are gone wild here. We continue to pay. You've seen the review. Now I'm putting insurance into this insurance investigation. You've seen the thing. Charlie Weston, again, good old Charlie, does a good old job there. And many others have drawn our attention to this thing, that the insurance companies are using big data against you. So if they send out a renewal form to you, and you don't dispute the renewal form, it goes up by 20 quid or 30 quid or 100 quid or whatever, and you go, oh, my insurance is going to be, oh, it's terrible, yeah, fucking going to be, and you just let it renew. Next year it'll go up again, right? But for me, I'm the mad lad. Everybody thinks I'm crazy because I take a day off and sit down with the phone in my hand going, blah, 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 blah. I want more better insurance, I want cheaper insurance, I want cheaper. And I always get cheaper. Always. Or the same. One or the other. So you really have to take this in hand, guys. We really have to do something. The insurance companies really have to be held to task over what's going on right now, today, against all of us. And there's nothing seemingly we can do about it, because we don't have anyone in the government willing to take on that task, apart from Pierce Doherty, who I see is tweeting madly about it, and has been going on about it for years, in fairness to him. Hitsters checking in. Come on, Hitster. Joseph Mulani, opinion on Ford Sierra XR 4x4. 4x4 is a bit of a tricky one. Mind that's a differential on the back. If they go, they are whopping expensive things to change. You'd be lucky to find one as well, the diff on the back of the thing. But Sierra itself is actually really cool. Super car. I mean, that thing is actually a super car. It looks like a saloon, but it's really fast. Brilliant little car to drive. Not little, big car to drive. And an interesting sort of history behind Sierra and XR and how it ended up being turned into a Mondeo eventually. So it's a very cool car. Very, very collectible. But if the diffs go wrong on you, and there's very little chance of anything really happening, but if they do go, by God, they're going to be expensive. Worth collecting, and worth, if you can actually, this is a mad idea, but if you can buy two of them, one broke, one working, you have some spare parts there to use, it's just make it just a tiny bit cheaper to you. What do you think of the Porsche Taycan Turbo? It's not a turbo, I'll say that for you, straight off the mark. Porsche Taycan is electric, it has nothing to do with turbo. Yeah, it's okay, very expensive though, isn't it, for what it is? Like, why wouldn't you just have a 911? I'm not going to drive it very much anyway. Hit your like button, everyone. Everyone click the like button. 50 likes. Come on. I'm worth more than 50 likes for sure. Chat revenue says €2. Somebody gave me €2 and I wasn't notified. I do apologise if I haven't called out your name. It didn't pop up on the screen for me. Hitster. Few reports of new Polestar 2 having the usual 12-volt DC issues and have been seen in other EVs. Yeah, well, pretty much everybody. There's always a few teething problems seemingly with like EV. Look at that Ford there and the Kuga with the electric PHEV going on fire when it was charging. Worst thing that could ever happen, obviously. It's very scary. Fires are scary in general, but having a car on fire outside your front door would be terrifying because you can't move it, you can't unplug it, it's plugged into your bleeding house, like, so it's pretty hard to do anything with. But yeah, Polestar 2. Polestar, I don't know if Polestar is ever going to come to this country, Ireland. I really don't. It was only ever meant to be made in kind of small numbers, so I'm not sure we'll ever see it, whether it'll come out or not. A lot of modification questions on TikTok. Yeah, tons of modification questions. Things like, will I fail my NCT if? Generally, if you're asked that question, you probably will fail your NCT, in fairness. Adam Ingram, BMW 2012 1 Series manual 160 2-litre or a Mark 6 Golf 2-litre manual 2011. Let me read that again now, Adam. That was a lot of numbers there. 2012 BMW 1 Series manual. I'm not a fan of BMW manual gearboxes. Or Mark 6 Golf 2-litre manual 2011. Yeah, I would go to Mark 6 Golf 2-litre manual. You're going to get more fun out of that. Although the 2012 BMW 1 Series is rear-wheel drive, so that would be good crack. The Golf is bigger, so easier to live with in general. I mean, the back seats and the boot and the whole lot. 1 Series is a great car and was brilliant at that point. It looks big, long bonnet and all. Looks really kind of cool, but in its stock form, it's alright. And the gearbox is not great. Manual gearbox BMWs aren't great. I'd buy the Mark 6 Golf for that one. Cross 13 has landed. There's our national advisor on everything to do with everything. Electrics, air, and solar and things and stuff like that. Very proper expert. James Dobson, would you recommend for a first car? Would I recommend what for a first car? Narrow it down for me, James. Give me a clue. What do you like? What would I recommend as a first car is the smallest engine you can find, because the insurance company's going to literally get at you in every possible way the minute you go beyond that. Although I have seen a few cases where like 2-litre diesels seem to be insured okay, 1.9 TDIs and things like that. As long as they're not too old, you might get relatively good insurance, but you just have to phone around to get it. Best thing to do for first time drivers, set your heart on a car, get the one you're looking for, don't buy it, just start looking around for insurance off it, and then you'll find out if your insurance is going to be really high on it or not. Some cars attract a higher rate of insurance than others. Michael D, or is that Mihal D? Afternoon, Bob. You should be out enjoying the weather. I would, but I have to do this. It's my job. It's my thing. Everybody wants me to come here and entertain them while they enjoy the bloody sun. So hopefully you're all sitting in your backyard enjoying the sun, because I'm not. I was earlier. Went out for a run this morning. Had a lovely little 5k run. Nearly died. I haven't run very far in a long time, so I need to get back into the swing of that running stuff. Adam Ingram, BMW 2012 1 Series manual 116D or a Mark 6 Golf 2-litre manual 2011. My God, did you ask me that already, Adam? Did you ask me that already? You did ask me that already. Niall McHugh, howdy Bob. Any thoughts on a Maserati MC20, first engine they developed in-house too? Maserati, look, anything Maserati's cool, even though it'll be broken. I mean, even though it definitely will be broken. Like, Maseratis break down. Things break in Maseratis all the time. It's an Italian car, they just do. But even the name on a t-shirt manages to be cool. You know what I mean? It's just a cool car. So like MC20 for sure, definitely. But it's definitely going to break. Very thirsty, all of those cars are. All the Maseratis, even the diesel yokes are thirsty enough. But there's something about driving around with that logo, with that symbol, the look. They're unusual. They look different. You know, there's just something about every one of them out there. James Dobson, what would you reckon? Oh, I did that already. Now we go. Sorry, first engine they developed in-house 20 years or so. Yeah. Good afternoon, all. This is Mark Turner-Smith. Hope all is well. 55 miles on the road by today, AM today. Now double tasking Bob on Tour de France. Feet up and cold, fuzzy Coke in hand. I might go for a cycle after this. I haven't been for a cycle nearly all year because we had lockdown, which is like 2 kilometres, then 5 kilometres, then 20 kilometres, and none of that's enough for much of a cycle, to be honest with you. But now the lockdown's over, I might just cycle to Kildare or something. M. Jones, which EU country has the best culture for car enthusiasts? I would suggest the UK probably has the edge on the car enthusiast thing. Although it has failed over a number of years. They do drive a lot of electric stuff now, and now they're starting to drive. A lot of magazines are closing, and it's kind of a tricky position for UK to be in. There was an awful lot of magazines being supported by quite a small group of people, and now they farm out a lot of the articles to agency work, which means that only like 4 or 5 people is doing all the writing for a big magazine, and that's kind of a weird place to be for the UK mags. Different for the German car scene is actually very good, very healthy, but the language is impenetrable for most people, so the magazines don't sell outside of Germany, you know. So and a couple of other European magazines publish in English, but they also publish in France and Spain and some other territories as well. A lot of stuff is moving online now. It's kind of shifted away, you know. Operator Hoot, yeah, I don't do Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. Good man. You know what? For mental health, I do suggest staying away from Instagram and Facebook for certain. TikTok is not so bad, really isn't, because it really does narrow down to what you like and shows you a lot more of that and less of the kind of mad shit. Whereas Facebook just show you mentally retarded stuff the whole time, and it just drives people mental. You can see it. You can actually see people who are calm, rational individuals out there, and all of a sudden they chime in on something that is just crazy stuff. Facebook's in court for manipulating elections. Like, let's be serious. They do manipulate stuff themselves as well. And so does Instagram. Instagram is just littered with people who want to show you how cool their life is. That's pretty much it. Essentially, just my life is better than your life. So tough. James Dobson did a one. Mark O'Reilly, afternoon all, double jobbing here with Bob and the F1. I know the F1 is still on. See, I normally don't come back until a little bit later in the year because of F1. So when the F1 ends, I take over, of course, worldwide. But I normally don't come back quite so early. So I'll come back in September this year because I normally come back in October, which would be where I'd go. So I might take a week or two off in October at some point from the Sunday service, because obviously everything else has to go on hold because this is live. I'm sitting in my office live right now today. Ocean Froggy, good afternoon Bob, can't wait for your ID3 test drive review. Initial feedback suggests a bit of a pig in a poke. Gone off EVs, bring back the nitro. I don't know. I don't want to read anyone else or look at anyone else's review until I sit in it myself tomorrow and actually squeeze the throttle and see the range and all that stuff. I don't even want to get too concerned about range, to be honest with you, because, you know, when you've driven a Model 3 or a Model S or X or whatever, and you get in, you see the initial range, you're going, well, that's a long way. And then you forget about it after a bit. You just start to forget about it. It's just not a big concern all the time. It's not the thing in your mind. And I'm hoping that ID3 will bring some of that forward. I'm also concerned with what Volkswagen's doing around the edge of the car. It's not just the car. They're going to provide electricity for your home. They're going to provide a year's free electricity if you buy the car. Okay, ID first comes with a year. So that's that, like, pretty good. Adrian, MG53. UK vehicle excise duty is mad. My Audi A3 1.4T FSI VED was £20. My new Q3 1.5 TFSI VED is £540 just because the retail price is over 40k. Electric vehicles have a similar tax and should be exempt. See, I don't agree with exempting the electric cars. I don't actually agree with doing anything more for electric cars than we're doing for petrol and diesel cars. Okay, what I do agree with is giving more benefit to the owner. So I'd be okay with maybe bus lane access, although that's not great, but you know, it's one way of rewarding. Maybe get rid of toll bridges. Fine, that's okay by me. So little benefits, taking bills away, I'm okay with. But giving electric cars, manipulating the commercial market is not a government job. It shouldn't be a government job. It's not our job to manipulate the private market. And that's essentially what's happening with cars right now, is that governments are being asked to manipulate a private market. So it's nothing to do with the... we're benefiting one thing over the other, and we're saying it's because of CO2 emissions, or we're saying it's because it's better or cleaner or whatever for the environment. And actually the best thing, and in my opinion, the best thing you can do for a car is to keep it on the road for as long as is humanly possible, so no one makes a brand new car for you. Because the most harmful thing for the environment is the continuing of making brand new things all the time. Brand new phones, brand new laptops, brand new this, brand new that. Everything brand new is the problem, because we continue to make more and more and more waste because we make brand new stuff. Brian O'Donnell says he doesn't have TikTok. It's only an app, just download it. I don't even have to log in to ask questions, because hundreds of people came to my Instagram from TikTok to ask me questions because they don't actually have an account on TikTok. I actually did get... I'm sorry, but my inbox was broken. I couldn't answer any more questions on TikTok than I was answering already. I have like thousands of TikToks up now, but it's great fun. It's good fun. Rory Hennigan Wilson says opinion on a Ford Fiesta ST200 in capitals with lots of symbols behind. Thank you very much. It's a good car. Yeah, all the Fiesta STs are pretty much good, all of them, but particularly the current one and the one that just went out. So both the newest ones are really, really good. Liam Young, would an IS200 be a good investment to hold on to for 10 years or so? It will, and I'll tell you why, because there'll be none of them left, because they're being ragged to death up and down every sort of private land thing, drifted yokes, overheating, they're being adapted. If you can get a clean one, and I mean one that's actually kind of more stock than anything else, it'll definitely go up in price, for sure. Because all of these cars are ragged. All those IS200s and 300s and any of that kind of Jap tuner type car is just ragged. So yeah, they'll definitely go up in price. Arse About Face says, Bob, loved your 840 review. Did you ever get a chance to review the Porsche, like the new 911, 992 or Taycan? Be interested, you're on a 55-inch TV. Thank you very much. 55 inches. Ooh, man, I think the biggest I was on was 70, was it? But yeah, I have not. Porsche does not have press cars in Ireland. There is a dealership in Ireland, but I am concerned about getting a car from a dealership because, well, you know, when you get a press car, you can say whatever you like. But when a dealer does you a favour to give you a lend of a car for a couple of hours to have a spin around in, then you've condensed it down to that couple of hours. You know, you have to kind of condense. You can't get to know a car. You can't kind of put the kids in the back or charge it up or, you know, whatever it is, put fuel in or something. You know, you can't get used to it like everybody else does in the normal run of things. So I haven't attacked Porsche. I should probably give Porsche PR office in the UK a buzz and go over there and get a couple of cars and just drive them around for a little bit. But it would amount to the same thing. I prefer to mess with a press car than mess with a dealership car, if I'm honest. I see our moderators are having a hard time of it today. And yeah, there's a lot of people watching, so yeah, it's a pretty busy little one today. It's going to be busy all day, I think. Nathan Thompson, what's your opinion on diesel ban in 20 years? It's not a ban. It's a ban on sales of new ICE engine cars. So it's not a ban on diesel or petrol as a fuel. It's not a ban on you owning a diesel or a petrol, but it's supposed to be a ban on the sales of brand new ICE engine cars. Now, the debate rages of what's an ICE. So are you talking about just straight diesel, or you mean PHEVs or hybrids as well? You see, there's a reason why they're all switching over to PHEV and hybrid at the moment. That's what's going on. What's my personal car? A Seat Leon 2006. Sport up model, bought in 2006, brand new, never sold it again. It sits out the front and just stays there and sits around town. I could easily replace it with an electric car, but they're too expensive. I'm sorry, I'd buy an electric car, but they're way too expensive. Lord Commander, my God, what a username for YouTube. Lord Commander, yes sir. What cars do you recommend a first-time driver who doesn't know anything about cars? Something simple. You don't have to know anything about cars to drive a car. I would, as a first-time driver right now, be looking at Kia Picanto, Hyundai i10. The older one of that thing was called a Getz, a Hyundai Getz, which is an older version of the same, basically the same car. I'd look at a Seat Mii, Skoda Citigo, VW Up. They're all small 3-cylinder engine cars. They're all going to be reasonably priced. Most of them have 5 doors. They've got a boot. They're usable. They're kind of stylish. They're not so bad. They're all good first cars, to be honest with you. If you go above 1 litre, 1.2, 1.4, you're going to get nailed on insurance. And then you have to pay more tax as well. So tax goes up as well. Thoughts on the D4D engine? That's a diesel engine from Toyota. Really good, really reliable, easy to service, the D4D. Very quiet when they were new. They got noisy when they get old. If it gets really noisy, like if you can really hear the thing take over, there's probably something wrong with it. But other than that, they're actually a very reliable engine. Adam Cully, I bought a 2007 Clio Monaco for €1,700 with brand new clutch. Decent deal. Yeah, that wasn't bad actually. Brand new clutch in it too. That's alright. Good sign it was owned by a learner driver, the fact that it needed a clutch. But £1,700 is okay. Monaco's a good spec as well. Nice little car. That'll keep going for a long time once the clutch has been changed, because nothing happens to the engine. They're pretty good, you know. Liam Podrick Nagel. Hi Bob. Was thinking about getting a 2018 Jaguar XE 2-litre. Seen you had one out in test a few years back. Wondering what's your opinion. Yeah, the XE was okay. I thought the XE was okay. It feels old now. Jaguar interior felt brilliant, we'll say, in 2008 and 9 and 10. You know what I mean? And then they didn't really seem to go much further when they were progressing through even up to 2018. Just got more electronics. But I thought it was quite a nice car. Very, very subtle, very quiet. Bit of an old man smell off it, Liam. I'd say that first off. You have to be a certain age to carry it off. A Jag. You know, a Jag. And plus you don't pay your bills. Probably best thing. But yeah, it's a pretty good car. No problem with those Jags. They're okay. They're reliable enough as pretty much as any other Jaguar. But Jaguars tend to have some electrical problems, some niggles that happen inside the car, so you will get things that just suddenly don't work one day. The light will come on the dashboard and then the light will go out tomorrow. Weird like that. Alex Ennis, thoughts on a conversion to LED lights? You can just watch your NCT because you need to get them certified to make sure that they're proper LED lights on the front of the car. They can only be white on the front of the car. Your spot lamps can be amber, but your headlights must be white. And that can come up sometimes kind of weird here and there, because sometimes the replacement ones have a blue tinge to them. You know, there's a kind of a bluish haze off it, or ultra white haze. So be careful of that one. So make sure you're buying a standard LED replacement, so they meet certain standards. But it must be able to pass an NCT, obviously, when it comes to it. So make sure they can be tested and you have them balanced and leveled and done properly. Don't be messing around with them. Like James Dobson. Is a first car. James, I've answered that question already, James Dobson. I'm nearly sure I've answered that question already. We have a lot of... Keep timing out, people, guys. Don't multiple times. If you just keep posting on the YouTube thing, I will answer it. I have to catch up on you. I'm at like 2:10 and it's 2:20. Just a bit of patience. I will answer every single question, guys. You don't need to ask once. Scott Laycock. Golf GTD opinions, looking to pick one up. Mark 6 Golf GTD was actually pretty good. The engine lasted right the way through to the Mark 7 Golf GTD, so it's still the same engine, which is always a good sign. It's a good sign that the faith of a car company in that particular car allows that engine to survive on longer. That's pretty good. That's always a good sign. So if you're going to pick up a car and it's got a brand new engine, never heard that before, what was the engine that went before it? Why did it get rid of that engine? You know, there's all kinds of reasons. Which I had no problem with Mark 6 Golf. Owen Connon, would you be better off getting the rigid license instead of just getting just the trailer license? If you're going truck driver license, I would go all the way and get all the licenses. It's just get them all, because it's much of a muchness. The tests are all basically the same. You know, the theory tests particularly are basically the same. So if you're getting a rigid license, you're probably going to get more. So rigids tend to do more short-term driving, so they tend to be delivery trucks, you know. 40 foots tend to be much longer-term driving, so you're driving overnight or maybe driving continental style, which is a continental license. you could definitely get both of them. I would definitely go after all of them. Go after all the training courses you can, because there's so many people trying to get into truck driving, bus driving right now, that it'd be worth your while to basically train for the whole lot. My God, that is a lot of questions today. Thank you all. Click the like button. Thanks very much. It'd be really good. This is a little mental today. This is really good. The simulcasting is working. I couldn't possibly answer both sides of the question, but it's good fun though, isn't it? It's great. I'll make 30,000 subscribers today, will I? On TikTok, as well as making another 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Where was I? Would you better off? There we are. Michael D, 2 thumbs down already. Looks like someone had to log on just to downvote. Hit a thumbs up, people. That's okay. People can thumb down, thumb up, all they want. Whatever they like. Generally speaking, someone always comes and does a little thumb down on something, but that's all right, because I know who you are. YouTube tells you. Dennis O'Reilly, Ford Fiesta van opinion. Which year, Dennis O'Reilly? Ford Fiesta van. There wouldn't be that many of them around. Anything that's a Fiesta is going to be okay. As a van, a van has a job. A van has a job to do. A van is an employee. That's the best way I always think of vans and stuff, and I'm giving people advice about them, is that a van is an employee of your business. Its job is to make you as much money as it costs, at least, and it must work 24 hours a day. It must be available to you to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without complaint. The last thing you want to do is be sitting up on a ramp somewhere having to be fixed the whole time. So make sure it's good history, and then choose a van that's appropriate to your business. So the size wise, it's all writable. You can write it off in V8 or VRT, VAT. Anyway, so it's a company vehicle. As Eric Washer says there, guys, try not to post multiple times. Just hold everything up. It will, because I have to read your question 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and I still will have answered it already. Alan Furlong, Bob was wondering about a new review on a 2011 Astra 1.7 turbo diesel. That 1.7 was actually fairly reliable, noisy and fairly economical. A bit noisy here and there, but it's actually a very reliable engine. It would go around the clock. The car won't. Opel Astras were never really built to last. They tend to be treated very harshly, particularly in van form. But if you're going to buy the turbo diesel Astra, you're okay with the engine. Pretty easy to work on as well. James Dobson, what was your Connor Healy? Hi Bob, opinion on a Golf 1.4 TSI for a 17-year-old, just got a license. How about insurance? You're not too bad. Generally the Golf is okay. Once it doesn't have GTI written behind it, it's okay. The insurance on TSI 1.4 TSI is a very reliable engine, and you'll have no problem with the engine itself, and it's not outside. It's at the top end of what a first time driver can get insurance wise without actually being nailed by it. Gav Nunny says, hi Bob, opinions on 2018 BMW M240i. Nice car. 240i is actually a nice car. They are lovely. M2 is nicer, but M240i is fine. BMWs are notoriously finicky on fuel. They do break, and they can be very, very expensive to get fixed in a dealership. If you learn how to do it yourself, it's okay. 2018 is just falling outside of its warranty period. It's 2020 now. By the time you have it, it'll be 2021. So you'll be kind of 3-4 years old at that point. So you'll start to see the warranty disappear off it. But they do, if they go wrong, they go really wrong. If they it can be a real problem for you straight away. For anybody just joining on either platform, I'm on TikTok and I'm streaming here on the Sunday service live as well. And somebody just sent me sun cream on sun. I don't know what any of that means. Things are happening on TikTok and I'm not sure. But you can join the Sunday service live. There's a link in my inbox there on TikTok if you want to join us over here for actual questions on this side. Adam Cully, thoughts on a 2000? I did that one already. Lee McDonald, Bob, say Leon. Golf, Audi A3 all around 2013. Which one? Same car, Liam. Exactly the same car. Leon, Golf and Audi A3 are the same running gears underneath, same gearbox, same clutch, same everything. One is not going to be more reliable than the other. Audi has the badge. When you're driving around in an Audi, you feel like you have a little badge going on. Volkswagen Golf is a timeless classic. No matter what year you pick, they're all going to be pretty much about muchness. They're cool in their own way. They take adaptations very well. They're nice and reliable. And a Seat Leon is probably the best of the three of them to drive, funny enough, because Seat do a little bit more sporty feel to the whole thing. And it's a good little brand. I own a Seat Leon, so it's not that bad. Like, just pick one of those three, whichever one likes your fancy the most, because the specs are basically the same. Brian O'Donnell, my brother was told by 2 dealers there's going to be a big hike on VRT, etc., and new diesels. Could be dealers talking, but who knows? They were saying a hike of 12 to 18%. We see definitely price of petrol, diesel cars will be going up. The Green Party will see to it that this is going to happen, and it'll be veiled. I guarantee you, it will be veiled as a environmental thing. It'll be veiled as a benefit to you as a citizen of Ireland, that we raise the VRT, and it'll make sure that we have clean air. And it's like total nonsense. They're just doing themselves out of everything. They're just making life difficult for people who don't have money. I mean, you're just penalising people who can't afford a bloody car in the first place, let alone afford to get into an electric car. They're just too expensive. You have to bring down the price of electric cars, because what they're doing right now is bringing the price of ICE engines up to the level of electric cars. You're being hoodwinked on prices right now. Today, this moment, you're being hoodwinked. Cars have gone up in price every year for the last 5 years. Every year they've gone up a little bit, and no one's noticed, and no one's taken anyone to task over that, because of soft motoring journalism in this country. Because we don't actually have real journalists that are actual. Well, we do, but we don't have ones that are actually doing stories like that. So yes, it will continue to go up. Ray Peace, would you change your headlights to LED? Would I change my headlights to LED? Yeah, if you want to have more brightness, LED lights are brighter. HID lights are brighter, HID lights. But would I go to the expense for an older car, or would I just leave it alone? Don't know. It depends how much of nighttime driving I drive. In Ireland, we tend, like, soon it'll be dark at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you know. And at evening time it's kind of murky crap. So yeah, you could change them over to LEDs. It's quite nice. But we don't really drive much outside of Portlaoise in our normal car, so I just use normal headlamps. H4s are in my car, I think, normal ones. Always on my For You page, says Ian Carr. Thank you very much, Ian. I know I don't try the thingamajig, the TikTok thingamajig does that to me. Mark Turner Smith says, Bob, for your videos and what you get, etc., does it make any difference on your watch awards if they say they have a pause halfway through and then come back to it? No, not at all. Once you're invested, so once YouTube detect that you are watching the video, you could go off and do whatever you want to do, and then come back and pause it and start it and stop it and start and stop it. Once you're watching, they don't care what you're watching. They really don't care it's just how long you watch one video for. And then, do you know the right hand side, when you're watching the video, you get presented a list of other videos on the right hand side. If you click another one of my videos, I get more money. So essentially, if you binge watch 5 or 6 of my videos, is the best way of me getting a lot of money from YouTube, which is where I want the money from, by the way. I actually want YouTube to give me money because they make enough of it out of me, for God's sake. They must have made millions at this stage out of me, and it's impossible to get it back out of them. So that's where I want it from. But, you know, obviously, Patreon is a massive help every month for Patreon, because it's a brilliant way of directly supporting for like £2. The super chats and things that are here as well come through my YouTube thing. YouTube take a cut of all of that, as does everybody else want to take a cut of all of that. So to expand the channel, to get it really going, it just requires money. It really does. To be in a secure position where you know you're paying your bills and you're paying all your stuff and all that stuff is done, that's where you get to the point that it works very well. Paul Dunn says it took 10 years to get to 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, and since you joined TikTok you're already at 53,000 subscribers. 3,000 subscribers more already. That's like 1,000 per week. Correct, Paul. But also there is a flip side of that. So YouTube's algorithm treats a 50,000 subscriber channel different than a 40,000 subscriber channel. So there is an element of them driving a little bit more content, more viewers my direction, and that's kind of okay. I always thought my channel was kind of crippled somewhere. Someone had ticked something off in YouTube at some point, because I always got way more views than subscribers. So like my view count is 22 million or something, that people have actually watched the videos, but it equates to 53,000 subscribers. So it's a very odd kind of way. But I understand now, after a lot of research, you realise that people come and they watch the video of the car that they're going to buy, and then they buy the car, and then they don't subscribe because they don't want to watch any more videos about any other cars. They're not car people. They just want to find out if it's a good car or not. Gert Becke, who is a beautiful subscriber here on YouTube, thank you very much. You come up green on my screen with a little logo behind you, like super thing. Driving a Skoda Superb 2020 model, I have creaking noises while turning the wheel at low speeds. Known or common issue, otherwise great car for the price. I had that in a Skoda as well, you know, funny enough. Not weird. I had that too. Turning left or turning right or something caused a creak in the steering wheel. Definitely back to the dealership with that one. It might settle out of it. A lot of cars, when they're brand new, will have weird creaks and noises and stuff around the cabin that just kind of settle down as the car beds in, so to speak. But I'd be worried about, not worried, it's not going to break, but I'd be worried about some sort of creak coming from the steering wheel. I've had it on my press car, so if I've had it and you've had it, then it's common. Unless it's the same car, unless you bought my press car, which could be the other thing entirely. But I definitely go back to your dealership, drive straight in and go to creak in the steering wheel, sort it out. That's definitely under warranty. Ocean Foggy says, agree 100%. EV is just a car, just another type of transport box. That's it. We don't have to make a this or that argument about electric, ICE, diesel, petrol. The electric cars have to be good cars to replace the cars we've got, because they're good cars. Not that we need, like I would sooner drive an electric Passat than drive a Tesla Model 3, because the Passat's a good car to drive anyway. So it'd be kind of cool if it had all the torque and all the messing around that electric cars can do. It'd be neat. And if it was nearly free to drive, you know. So there's a lot going for it, you know. Bob Dagnall, is there a cartel in Ireland to control car insurance pricing? I can't say that word, that there's a cartel, but if you ring around enough insurance companies, you get basically the same quote across all of those insurance companies. What would you call that then? You know, I have a report from someone I trust that's told me a number of years ago that the insurance companies, all of the MDs of the insurance companies in Ireland, rented out a certain hotel room in Dublin for a conference and sat in there and were told that they're not financially, they don't have enough money in the bank, and they put up the price of insurance. And so if they can have a meeting like that where all of the competition meets to decide whether they're going to charge more money for insurance, then what would you call that? Are twin cams good cars? Twin cams are great cars. Bit of fun. Thirsty, and when they go wrong, they break very badly, and they usually are treated really hard. But twin cams are great crack, yeah. Collusion is what Ray calls it. Yeah, collusion. See, I can't say the other word because they might not be. Allegedly collusion. Anyway, EP says we have an insurance regulator in this Ireland who could possibly be asleep at the wheel, or could actually be doing their job but just ineffectually, because I don't think they have any real legal push here. I mean, Facebook is taking our privacy regulator, what do we call it, social media privacy regulator, that person, taking them to court over their ruling. Anyway, hi Bob, selling my car has outstanding final PCP payment before next January. Obviously I will tell the buyer that the PCP is outstanding. What's the best way to sell it? I don't have the money up front. So wait now. Oh wow, that's a tricky question. So you're selling your car with an outstanding final PCP payment on it before next January. I would suggest that that's probably not a good idea. That's not your car to sell. Even if you intend to make that payment, that's not your car to sell. That'll be a breach of your financial responsibilities. I could be wrong on that. The way you've worded it suggests to me that you're going to sell a car with outstanding finance on it. That's belonging to the finance company, that PCP payment. And so the outstanding value of your car is actually the car, not your car. That's why PCP is a tricky old business to get into unless you understand how it works. You will have to pay that PCP for the 3 years. At the end of the 3 years, you will have the option of handing the car back for the value that it's worth. And then that finishes your financial interest in the car. It's gone. The car's gone with it. You can refinance that last bit and get a credit union loan and pay off the balance. or you can continue paying, but obviously you don't want to continue paying. But if you're going to sell that car just by notifying the next owner that financial thing is outstanding, you're going to end up in a world of pain, because that's not their financial agreement. That's your financial agreement. And if you don't have the car or the payment at that point, you're going to get arrested. That's going to be pretty serious, that one. I wouldn't do that. That's definitely not something to do. Mick Mulcahy's here. Come on, Mick. Eric Rochard. No, he's answering the question. Hugh Egan. What would insurance be like for an 04 Mark IV Golf for a new driver? 04, you price it. Ring the insurance company and ask them. They're not going to do you a turn over the phone madly or anything. Ask them the question. Best off ringing and asking those guys themselves. It'll be okay. It's a Mark IV Golf. Like, it's not going to be expensive. But it is over 10 years old, so you might be restricted on who you can get insurance from. Mark Turner Smith says, Bob, 2014-2015 is a Mark III Leon. I thought you had a Mark II. I have a Mark II, yeah. Sorry, yeah. That's right. I have a Mark II. Mine's 2006. The best looking ones. Mark III got a bit plain looking. It did actually. And it got plainer over time. It's getting better again now. It looks great now. And I actually talked to the chief designer. I should put up that video interview. I did a video interview with the chief designer of Seat at... where was that? That was the launch of the Seat line, I think, last year. So I still have that in the can there somewhere. Hugh Egan says, what do you think of ST2 RS turbos? Anything RS with turbo written on it, super cool, but it'll empty your bank account into the fuel tank. But they're good crack, yeah, they're okay. XR3Is would be similar. Brilliant car to ride. Great crack. Buy it in convertible if you can. It was seen as a girl's car, hairdresser's car at the time, but now it would be super cool to have a convertible XR3i. A lot of scuttle shake. So the front and back of cars connected on the older cars by the chassis underneath and by the roof between the two, which adds structural integrity to the entire car. When you remove the roof, you have to strengthen elsewhere. So they put bars underneath the floor of an XR3i and all convertibles of that age, which made you got this chassis flex, which is called scuttle shake in corners. It feels weird, but you get used to it. XR3Rs are really cool, but can be very expensive. Paul O'Connor, who is a beautiful subscriber, thank you, Paul. Hi, Bob. No, hi guys. This year I got ceramic coating covered under the comprehensive insurance, something that's not normally covered. Got it for the same cost last year, no increase in premium. What's ceramic coating? It means ceramic coating on the outside of the car. Cool. Hi Bob and chat. On the road from Cork to Kilkenny. Good man, Irish Foxhound. Stay safe. Keep streaming. You're alright. Niall Sheridan, I haven't seen anyone from the bus drivers for a long time. We had a lot of bus drivers once upon a time who used to text me in the middle of live streaming to go, I'm streaming on the bus with like 60 people on it. But then bus drivers are screwed at the moment, aren't they? Yeah. Niall Sheridan, what are your thoughts on a Mazda RX-8 as the first car? You won't get insured on it, RX-8. You just won't. I don't think any insurance company will give you that. But now you probably will, but you probably cost you a bleeding fortune to get it. But I suppose you could try. RX-8's a fab car. It's going to break. And it will definitely, they all do, they all do. They rev like mad jokes, and performance of like a 2 or 2.5 litre petrol, but it's taxed. The older ones are taxed as a 1.3. Then it became a 1.7 at some point, without actually changing the engine. They just changed their minds and called it something else. But it's a brilliant car, great fun to drive, and very thirsty on oil and on petrol. Brian O'Donnell, every renewal. Garrett Talbot, you're very kind. Thank you very much, Garrett Talbot, for sending money by PayPal. You're very kind. That's links down below there. You're very good. It just popped up on my screen on this side. This is like the Matrix, lads. All I see is Ford, Mazda, just flying up. It's brilliant. It's wild. It's like 1 million people watching. No, it's not. Brian O'Donnell says, every year on my renewal, my vehicle insurance for my better half, when her car insurance is up for renewal, I sit with a cuppa and check everywhere to get a better price, and I do every year only way. That's exactly what I do as well, Brian. My first port of call is usually some sort of price comparison site, which gives me the idea of what's happening in the world. So it gives me at least a baseline. Then I get last year's premium, the price of how much it cost me last year. And I have to say, hats off to AXA. I think it's AXA. Yeah, AXA, who were insured with this year. They send you out last year's price. So they tell you, last year you paid this. This year we're going to charge you that. This is really good. It's a nice way of doing it. Most of them don't bother with that stuff. But I get last year's renewal out, and I get my phone out in front of me, and I get the renewal cost, and I go to a price comparison site which shows me all of the available insurance companies and their quotes, and then I go about beating last year's quote. That's it. And I sit there until I get the quote I want, and I ring them. And I hold the phone up against the head and I'm going, yeah, well, listen, last year I was charged this and I want to pay less than that. And they go, well, it's gone up in price. You go, well, it's not really, actually. The car's the same. I'm the same. I'm older. I'm driving less. And just argue until you get what you want. I'm sure they hate me ringing up, actually, because I know all this words and phrases and things. Liam Young, would an IS200 be good investment to hold on 10 years or so? You asked me that already. Yes, it would be. Mike Daly, Pierce from Sinn Féin keeps fighting the insurance cartels, but government keeps shutting them down and are willing for some reason to pull them up. Because the Insurance Federation have a brilliant lobbying group who is phenomenally standing in the background and paying the government money. That's why Pierce is alone. Brian O'Donnell, thank you very much. €5 into Kitty for the super chat. You're very kind. Thank you. Pierce is fighting a case all to himself, and basically Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Green Party just dismiss Sinn Féin's idea. They just continue to do it. Now, I'm not a particularly Sinn Féin person, so don't think for 1 second I'm telling you need to vote Sinn Féin or something. I'm not particularly on anybody's side, but they're the ones who seem to be trying to do something for the population of Ireland. In my opinion, I think Pierce has always tried to do something on behalf of the Irish population in general. So I'm a fan. If he's doing something to help me and will lower my insurance premiums, or in some other way help our people, our citizens, our people coming into the country for some reason, if it's going to help, I'm okay. I'm alright with that. I don't care. Hugh Egan, are Sunstrips legal? There's a limit, there's a difference between a sunstrip across the top of your bonnet, of roof of your car, your windscreen of your car, and one that comes halfway down the windscreen, right? There's a big difference. If it's blotting the outside world, if you can't see out and a Gardaí pulls you over and goes, you can't see out from there, then no, it's not legal. But there is a point that those sun visor things become a thing that's blocking your view. But they're not illegal to have a sunstrip on top of it, like Billy and Mary written on the top of the screen. That's absolutely fine. No problem with that one. John Raff, hopefully in 10 years there'll be an electric version of every car. That would be great. Don't know how great that would be, really. Do you know how quiet an electric car is compared to, I mean, I had an Audi RS7 4-litre V8 600 horsepower, and every time you put your foot down, everyone in the street turned around to look at it. And you sat there with a stupid grin in your face going, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever done. Do you know how you do that in a Model 3, which has about the same 0 to 60 time? And you're sitting there going, oh, yeah, wow, that's really exciting. So I hope that we find a way to make cars exciting as well as electric would be good. Rob Brady, hi Bob, new here, good man. Thanks Rob, subscribe, it's always good, boy. It's good for your health as well. I used to say that a lot. Remember, you said that, subscribe, it's good for your health, and everyone just go, how's it good for my health to subscribe? Then he has comments of all sorts of names as well. Star Wanderer. But hi Bob, new here. What's the advantage of a plug-in hybrid car over non-plug-in? The likes of Toyota make sales pitch out of their hybrids charging up themselves and not needing to be plugged in. The hybrids don't charge themselves. That's just marketing talk. Essentially, it's just marketing thing, just saying it's self-charging. But then, what do you call it if you don't call it self-charging? It's a hybrid. I get that. But to make it really basic and make people understand how simple the whole system is, saying it's self-charging is the easy way out, right? So when you plug in a car, so the plug-in hybrids have bigger batteries for a start. So they go about 40 or 50 kilometers, give or take, on just pure electric. Whereas a hybrid doesn't really go very far in pure electric. It tends to just kind of start and stop as it pleases. So there's no plugging in. Hybrids are much easier to live with because you don't have to plug them in at all. But the fuel economy, probably not fantastic out of them compared to a plug-in hybrid, which you can plug in every day. If you can make a big PHEV, a plug-in hybrid, work properly every day, you probably should have bought an electric car in the first place because you plugged them in a lot. When a PHEV runs out of electricity to drive itself completely, it just becomes a hybrid anyway. So you're buying a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. They're basically the same thing. Toyota would be the best hybrids because they've been doing it the longest. They know how it works. They have the best kind of software to run with it. Whereas PHEVs, loads of them. Dynamic frame is a photographic technique to mask the projected image size and shape to any ratio that seems appropriate to the scene. We now have lost a lot of viewers on that bore. There you are. Now, I didn't know about that. Thoughts on gap insurance? What's gap insurance? Is that you're talking about insuring yourself while you don't have a car? It's another rip-off. If that's what you're talking about, the way the insurance companies rip you off, as if for some mad reason that because you stopped driving your car today and decided to park it in the garage and not drive for 6 months, that in that 6 months you've lost the ability to drive entirely and you start again from scratch. It just seems mad, doesn't it? So that's what gap insurance usually is. Hugh Egan, if you're a new driver, what car would you buy? My God, we're still at new car drivers. New cars. So if I was a new driver starting out right now, you got to drive something with a small engine. That's for insurance purposes only, a small engine, and you need to build up another couple of years of driving in a car with a small engine till the insurance starts to go down. Then you can bring your engine up, make it a bit bigger, and still pay the same amount of insurance. So anything from Kia Picantos to Volkswagen Ups. Footy Ferrari. Well, Bob, I asked Honda Ireland any word on when the Honda E has come to Ireland. Heard nothing back. You'll hear nothing back either. Rumour has it Honda Ireland is in real trouble at the moment and may have to be. Well, they're owned. Honda Ireland is owned by Gowron Group, who also own Peugeot, possibly Citroen, and Opel, and Honda. That's Gowron Group. Okay, they're run out of Naas Road. So Honda Ireland themselves, well, there's no press cars on. I haven't even had a press release from Honda Ireland in a couple of months. Like, it's been months since I've heard that in front of them. So I'm not too sure whether we're ever going to actually see this car appear in Ireland. And the Honda E, there isn't exactly good supply on Honda E, in fairness. You know, it's very cute but really short range. I've sat in it. A lot of electronics, lads. You know, a lot of electronics. Thoughts on a Tesla Model S, says the big head junkyard. Tesla Model S is okay. The early ones had rubbish suspension and really poorly put together. The later ones got a lot better. But the early ones, the suspension is bone crunchingly hard on back roads because they're built in America where it's all nice and flat and nice, and they come over here to Ireland where we have bogs. Like, it's crazy. But Model S's are actually pretty good range in them. They're not as fast as you might think. They feel fast once in a while, but you don't do that very often. But stay away from the early ones. Get a later one. Alan Fitzgerald, 12,000 kilometres per year, diesel or petrol car. 12,000 kilometres is petrol range, really. That's like 10,000 miles. It's petrol or diesel. You can have either. But do you do that kind of mileage on motorways, or are you doing that kind of mileage just round towns? Because round towns, 12,000 kilometres a year is electric range. Easily. Like, even the most basic yoke would go around the town electric. But if you don't fancy electric, you don't want electric, then petrol will be the next thing, or a hybrid or something. Anything over 20,000 kilometres a year is where you really start to see the benefit of having a diesel. That's where you'll definitely save a lot of money from having a diesel. Adrian Nelson says, afternoon from Milton Mowbray. I have been there, Milton Mowbray. It's never to make the pork pies, no? I'm mad there. Mowbray. I think they make pork pies there. Yeah, I remember. But I was there. I've been there before. I know I have, because I passed through and I was asking myself that same question as I drove through in a little Mini going, is this where they make the pork pies? So I could be completely wrong, Adrian. I hope I'm right, though. Paul O'Connor, challenge for you. Looking for help. Looking to get a Golf. Diesel. White. First car for my daughter. She's going to uni. Needs to be in great condition. Under 10k. Can't speak for the price, but then I see a fella in the Sunday service, Brady's garage down in... He's on Brady. I'm sure he's on the Sunday service. Didn't he put out a picture of a white diesel car, Golf, the other day? He had it in his forecourt. Don't know how much it was. Check on the Sunday service. Brady's garage. Down at the Tesla thing. And yeah, I'm nearly sure he did. I'm not advertising him, by the way. It's not to do with me at all, but I'm almost certain he put it out there. Michael Joyce says, hi Bob, do you reckon a new Tesla Model Ys made in Berlin will end up being cheaper here in Ireland? Not if Volkswagen has anything to do with it. Volkswagen might steal the thunder. Like, the difference between Tesla and Volkswagen is Tesla tell you everything, right? So Tesla want their stock market price to go through the roof so they can make loads of money to make cars. So what they do is they say, we're opening a gigafactory in Berlin. It's going to create this, but they haven't done it yet. They barely even broke ground on the bloody thing, right? So the problem there is that it's not finished. Whereas Volkswagen don't tell you anything. They don't say anything until it's ready. The biggest mistake Volkswagen ever made was to say we have an ID3 18 months or 2 years ago. And then we all went, where is it? And they didn't have it ready. So this is the problem. Model Y and Model X and Model S and all that will have to go down in price over here because they're too expensive. They're really so expensive because they're built in California. They're shipped across the entire country in the back of trucks, and then they're put into a boat and sailed here to Rotterdam where they get charged up and then sent over to here. It's this very long chain of getting them here. So, and that's not very environmentally friendly because boats are terribly harmful to the environment, the big container ships. But Model Ys will have to get cheaper. If they don't get cheaper, then there's going to be a problem, and they're getting bought very rapidly. So supply is an issue. But if Volkswagen come along, Volkswagen Group now on top of it, so Skoda will bring out their Enyaq next year, which will be a direct competitor for Model Y, and Volkswagen will have this all thought out. They will go after Tesla's market share very quickly. Oh my god, I need a drink. Please don't forget there is another way to support the channel, and it's underneath in the comments down below. It's called Noah, and if you want to do it and you don't want to go to the channel links down below, you can always go to sorry, I got messages there. Thank you very much for the donations. You're very good. That's so kind of you all to send donations. I'll come back to that now in 1 second. I have to check something else here as well. Right, sorry, I'll go back to that now. We're back here again. Where were we? Right, so you can support this channel on Noah down below, which is in the links. And if you don't want to do that, just head over to newsoveraudio.com and click Explore Series. If you don't want to use the links and things down below, you can actually just donate directly into Noah and just go to the website. Put in Flavin as a discount code and you still get 50% off. Aren't I really good to try and get 50% off? It makes it €60 a year for all of the news. All of the news, access to everything on the site is 60 quid a year. It's an amazing price in fairness for the amount of effort that goes in. And I know I do voiceovers here myself. The amount of effort that goes into making these sort of things, just this here, I can't imagine once you like to do all your research and then have to sit down and write a script and do all the stuff as well. Be brilliant. But go over to newsoveraudio.com, click Explore Series, or click sign up, either one, whichever one you want. Sign up there, put in your name and address, click on sign up, and then as a discount code put in Flavin, and it will go to €60 for the entire year instead of 120. So you get 50% off. Thank you. And it supports the channel as well, so it means you get something and I get something. We all get something out of it. Adam Cully, no, we've had that one before. A Maserati t-shirt known as full of holes after a wash or two. I love that Irish work on, brilliant. Kevin McCormick, hi Bob. Were the Mitsubishi Ireland pulling out of Ireland? Would you say clear on buying an Outlander PHEV? Well, let's just look at Mitsubishi Group for a start. Mitsubishi pulled out of Europe, not just out of Ireland. Okay, so they're gone out of Europe entirely because they were a bit player in Europe and they were hoovered up by the alliance between Nissan and Renault. So they were supposed to join that alliance and become part of a bigger group, but that really didn't come about too well. So could you fix a PHEV on your own here if there's something wrong? There's going to be Mitsubishi garages that have had the training to fix the PHEV, so you're not going to be short of a mechanic if something goes wrong. But parts and supply and software updates and all that stuff that a dealership would have done, I'm not sure about that. So it's pretty difficult to figure out whether that's going to be good or bad for you. I like those PHEVs. I really like the Mitsubishi Outlander. I think it's a good little car. You get 3 engines, it's a good yoke, and it will go off-road, and it'll tow anything you want. They're a good car. But would you buy one now knowing that they're gone from the market? Ooh, scary. Mo Beats, hi Bob, I hope you're okay. I'm fine. Options for electric vans. VW Caddy asked for my dad. There is a couple. I'm testing a couple ones from the newerly formed Maxus vans. We always call LDV vans. It's a Chinese brand that Harris Group in Dublin have brought in. Now they have been doing electric vans and buses for quite some time, and I'm after booking in to the diesel one and electric one on the same week to kind of test them back to back, because I want to see with the van range is going to be a gargantuan problem. Because if you imagine you start off with a van that weighs 1.5 tons with nothing in it, and then you put a half ton of stuff in the back of it as well. Now it weighs 2 tons and it has a big battery in it, so the weight is always going to be a big problem. So I'm not sure. There is also a Crafter electric that I've seen as well, and there is a forthcoming Caddy electric which will be on the way, but I think that's going to be well behind the ID3 and ID4. I think that won't be until next year, so I wouldn't get excited about that one. Right now, nothing beats a diesel van in Ireland because you can claim the VAT back. See, I'm always thinking in business-wise, business head on. You can claim your VAT back on, if you're VAT registered, obviously, you can claim your VAT back on diesels. But you can't claim your VAT back on petrols or electrics, right? So we're still distorting the market there, you know. James Dobson, I have my heart set on a 1.209 Vauxhall Astra, but I've been told it's a very bad car. Why was it a very bad car? It's a bit heavy for that engine, I'll give it that, right? So 09 Astra is not exactly a light car to begin with, and it's got a small little engine in it. It's going to be a little bit more expensive on fuel, and you're going to have to make sure you look after the water pump and the timing belt, because it does go on those roads. You have to change them on the button on the service every time, but it's not a particularly bad car. It's just ordinary, I suppose. M. Jones says, on TikTok I couldn't find a way to search for you. Just click the little magnifying glass in the bottom search button. Does it have a search function from the website? I don't know about the website. I've never been to the TikTok website, only on the app. But there is certainly a search function. I searched for myself this morning and found 12 impersonators. People who are impersonating me. I think that happens normally on TikTok when you just set up an account. Someone else sets up an account as well. But I've had a couple of impersonators already, so that's alright. It's called Bob Flavin Official on TikTok, if you want to find it there. Clover Video says, hi Bob, I do a lot of motorway driving. I need a comfortable car. Would you go for an Audi, VW or new Skoda for independent rear suspension? Thanks, Darren. Darren, I would go a Volkswagen Passat. Skodas are very good, but I do find a Superb very, very soft on the rear end when you're driving along. It actually feels a little bit seasicky. You know what I mean? Kind of like this constant sort of but particularly over speed bumps and things. But Audi make the kind of firmer, long, low down. It's a little bit firm. Volkswagen Passat would be the one I would go for. It's just really comfy. Buy an estate model, tons of room in the back of the thing, and dead comfy on a long spin down a motorway. Adrian MG53 says, hi Bob, lovely and sunny in Sussex. One of the best small cars I've driven was a Renault Clio Williams. Oh yeah, fab car. I wasn't brave enough to buy one. What's your favourite fun car from the past? You know, I actually looked at a video. It came up the other day on Facebook, weirdly. Someone else had uploaded it. It was me driving a Citroen C3 DS Racing. A Citroen DS3 Racing. That thing. That was brilliant, that car. And the Renault Megane RS, also a brilliant, brilliant car. As French cars goes, those two are fabulous performance jokes. I'd say they're nothing but a ball of rust now, both of them. But brilliant cars. God, they were so good. Good day from New Orleans, says Thomas Hyler. Thank you very much for joining us, New Orleans. How's things over there? Have they settled down? Have you all rebuilt? You all finished doing your stuff? Last time I checked in New Orleans, things were starting to perk up there, getting good again. Nemo Cotter, hi Bob. Friend of mine bought a 2007 Z4. Oh yeah, very rare to get there, and apparently any thoughts on prices going up for sure. And in the Z4s, almost all of them are in hedges, ditches, walls, raced on a track, driven to bits essentially. So if you get one, yes, definitely hold on to it. Good engine. If it's a V6 one, is the V6 one or what you're after? I don't know what engine you're after buying, but Z4s came in a variety of engines. If it's a good old petrol one under the bonnet, mounted longitudinally, very easy to work on as well, fair enough, but parts are expensive and it's pretty hard to get anyone who actually knows what they're doing with those Z4s, because very few of them are sold, so very few mechanics have had experience of what's underneath them. But they're pretty good. It will escalate in value. Keep it as close to stock as is humanly possible. Like weird wheels and stuff look good on it, but they value every single one of them. Lotus Extige 2014 says Jim makes music. Hi, Jim makes music. Lotus Extige, I don't know if you've ever driven an Extige. Looks good. That's it. Lotus is definitely going to break. Any Lotus I've ever seen has always been broken down or really hard to start, so I wouldn't be terribly gone on Lotus. Like if you want to collect something, for sure, an Extige or any of the Lotus Elans or Elises or any of those kind of cars, they're going to be pretty good, but generally speaking it's going to be broke. Questions have been repeated, posting which comment on TikTok users have had to be timed out or removed to stop it. Apologies, no cross-platform. It's okay. It's fine. We'll all catch up on one another eventually, because we have brilliant moderators here on YouTube, because it does go wild here from time to time. It does. It's good fun, but there is a madness about people some days. And some days we have a great time. Sometimes we have a really great time, but we've never had a bad time. I don't think we've ever had a bad time here on YouTube. It's at 15:17 already. I'm only answering a question from like an hour ago. Just lads. Lads. Alex Smith, opinion on the Passat CC GT TDI. Passat CC, or CC as it became known afterwards, is one of the finest cars Volkswagen ever designed. It's gorgeous in every single respect. Really only a 4-seat, but you're getting everything from a Golf, you're getting everything from Passat, you're getting everything from all the good stuff was fired into CCs. If you get a later one, they actually threw a whole heap of things at it before they sold off the last of them. So you end up with things like heated seats and touchscreens and all sorts of stuff in the final versions of them. But if you can get the Passat CC, the actual first one, and swap out the headlights for LEDs, it looks savage. What do you think of the Ford Focus, Ford RS Turbo ST2? I think I answered that already. Oh my god! Mobeats has been a very generous super chatter. Thank you very much. My dad's looking for a smaller van, Nissan EV200 size. A bit old now though. Newer is probably better for EVs, right? I know anything else in pipeline other than the Caddy. The EV200, the original ones of those, would be very similar to the Leaf battery and suffered a lot of battery degradation. And I know this because I know 2 owners who emailed me about battery degradation, and they have lost quite a bit of range on their EV stuff because they were early batteries. Now the later ones had the better batteries in them. You don't get quite so much battery degradation in them, but still, you still have problems with that. It's still going to be a problem for sure. Battery degradation is always a problem on the early stuff and even on the newer stuff as well, because it's hard, because it's so long to charge them. You know, if you're going to use an electric van, it has to make money. It's a van. It's designed to make money. It has to be good and going all the time. You can't wait for it to charge up. What camera are you using, Bob? Says Adrian. I'm watching on my 49-inch 4K TV and the picture is superb. Not good. On TikTok, I'm just using my phone, which is over there. But this camera that I'm using right here, that is a Logitech camera that was given to me by Cross 13. Cross gave me that thing. It still works up there. It's been a brilliant camera, I have to say. Once I stopped the autofocus hunting on it, I had to find a set and turn off, and I still have to turn it off every single time I use it, but it had a habit of doing this focus hunting, but it turned out to be pretty good. It's actually very good, and I do use it for some videos, just installation things and just all sorts of stuff that I make here. Remen Big 31, what's your opinion on the Toyota RAV4 2020 or the 2021 plug-in version? Plug-ins in these cars, so you buy most of these cars because you want a big boot. When you have a plug-in hybrid, it sucks up the boot on you, so they just move things around in the boot and put it in there, so you lose boot space because you want a plug-in hybrid. The only one I have seen that didn't do that was Volkswagen Passat. They did a plug-in hybrid and it didn't interfere in the boot at all, and so did the Skoda Superb. So wherever Volkswagen is putting their bloody batteries, Toyota need to cop on, because I had a Ford Mondeo Estate plug-in hybrid that had a hump in the boot, and it was just stupid. Like it was like it was an add-on or something. And I also seen the Ford Mondeo Saloon with the thing that looks like a small child's coffin in the boot. Is the best way I can explain it. Like a small little child's coffin carpeted over in the boot, and that was the batteries. It looked like a prototype. I actually asked at the launch, is this the prototype? You go, no, it's the finished one. You go, well, yeah, that's finished. That doesn't look finished to me. Anyway, Toyota RAV4, the current one is brilliant. The actual car, the ones you can buy right now in the dealership, is a lovely car. Really nice, much bigger than the original RAV4s. It's no longer a small little crossover. It's actually quite a big yoke. So I would definitely go for the current one. Keith Colton, that's where the EVs conversions make sense. More efficient running gear and saves environmental impact of shell interior. Correct conversion, so conversion of a current model car into electric. And I would totally agree with that if the engine was rubbish anyway. Like if it's a Hyundai i40 with a diesel yoke, that was about as engaging to drive now as a bat, right? So they're okay, they're a good car, but it's not going to be a brilliant car. It's not going to be something that people are going to collect. It's not something we're going to see in 40 years, right? So why not whip out the engine, stick in an electric motor, put a battery in it, and be done with it? And that's it. Brilliant, isn't it? Keith goes on to say, if it saves scrapping some other cars and uses salvage parts, batteries from crashed EVs, it would be good. There's a good business in the US of reclaiming Prius batteries. Prius was a very high selling car in the US. Ones get crashed, ones get broken, engine gets broken, the car gets recycled. People buy up the batteries. And then they said about making one good battery from a number of older crap batteries, you know, and then they recycle the bits that are left over. It's a brilliant idea. So the batteries go on to another life, and they're doing it in a small way. They're doing it in a small backyard way, you know, that kind of way. So I like that idea. However, there are still some cars I'd buy for engine and would keep ice. Oh, absolutely. There's loads of cars out there now I'd keep into a nice petrol sound. Diesel, I wouldn't really care less if someone said to me that you couldn't have a diesel car anymore. Other than the mileage thing, it's brilliant. But like if someone bought an Audi A6 and went, listen, I'm going to strip out that 2-litre diesel out and stick an electric engine, that'd be fine. Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind that. But if they brought me that Audi RS7 there, instead of going to take out that 4-litre V8 and put an electric engine, I'd murder you, because I'd never speak to you. That'd be the end of that. Guy Gaming says, are you allowed to tint lights in the car? Not the front lights, for sure. You can have a small tint on the rear lights, so it depends on how much light is passing through the bulb, how much light is passing through the lens is measured, okay? So they can do this on the roadside. Guards have things in the boot of their car that can test this on the roadside. So if there's a heavy tint, I've seen like Volkswagen Golfs where you've got a black Golf and someone wants to tint the rear taillights black as well. No. If it's not red on the back and it looks black, it's going to attract all kinds of bad attention on you, and it's worth a couple of penalty points. So be careful of that one. But you cannot tint front lights at all. They must be white and unobscured. Dan Moriarty, can you put out a TikTok of the best 1-litre cars? I can, I suppose, yeah. Okay, I'll do that later. Alan Fitzgerald, driving a 2.2-litre diesel Honda Accord, would Honda Civic 1-litre turbo petrol be good replacement? Only drive about 12,000 kilometres a year now. Why not go electric? Just wondering now, maybe you don't want to be electric, but why not? At this point, like 12,000 kilometres is nothing. You could cycle 12,000 kilometres a year. Like, it really isn't very much mileage wise. And a 1-litre turbo petrol is actually pretty good. It's a nice little engine, fizzy little thing. It's a good car to drive. But if you want to have a good car, then go with the 1-litre. It's fine, yeah, it'll be a fine engine. But just consider electric. Just price one against the other and see if you can get away with having even a second-hand electric. There's a couple of Konas that's coming up for sale now. They're not a great car, but they're fully electric. And the price is the taxes, the minimum. Charge them at home, much cheaper to run, no petrol to worry about, nothing like that. So, if your mileage is low enough to have an electric car, go electric. Is it worth going full electric now? I'd still wait, Jim, on TikTok for another. I'd still wait till next year until the demand falters a bit. So there'll be a point where the demand for electric cars will start to fall a little bit as the first early adopters, the people who are really pent up waiting for the cars as the delivery takes place, and the rest of us are being dragged along in this electric revolution that's here, and we end up in a position where we can't afford electric cars. So that's what'll happen eventually, is we just won't be able to afford them. Where was I? 1.2 Ubus Dubus. That's a good name. Ubus Dubus, I like that. 1.2-litre 2011 Polo, 73,000 miles, €5,425. Sounds alright to me. 1.2-litre Polo, 73,000 miles. Yeah, 1.2. These are used as hire cars. Like, they get abused and they still survive them all, so they'd be fine. Killian Malone, thinking of buying an 09 and 13 BMW 1 Series. What would I need to look out for, and what would you recommend, petrol or diesel? Petrol, in the older ones. Diesel, a big diesel will do high mileage forever, right? But there will come a point where you'll have to service a diesel so often, because they're a little bit weird when they get old, that it just becomes uneconomical to service, because a service on a diesel can be like 200, 250, 300 euro, whereas a service on a petrol can be 50 to 100 euro, right? It's a lot cheaper to service a petrol. So if you're looking for an older yoke in a 1 Series, I would go petrol if possible. Diesel would be fine, but you just got to service it more often, and 1 Series are fine. They're a grand car, but they can go wrong, and when they go wrong, like any car, it gets expensive, but particularly BMWs. 001 Keegan, 6 to 7 grand family car. What would you buy? Petrol, diesel, and why? Don't know. Family car is anything from like a Volkswagen Golf to a Renault Scenic. You narrow it down to me. Bring it down. What's your mileage? How many people are in the family? How many people are you going to regularly carry in the car? Do you want 7 seats or 5 seats? A big boot? What are you after? Annie McPhee, thousands of bus drivers laid off looking for work all at the same time. Wouldn't waste money on one, to be honest. Reshuffle of LGV drivers to be within certain parts of the industry grinding to a halt. That's a bus driver telling you right now, it's not a good time to become a bus driver. Or a truck driver or anything, because there's an awful lot going on right now. There's a lot of jobs disappearing, guys, and I'm telling you now, if you have any interest in starting something for yourself, on doing something of your own accord, of becoming your own boss or starting your own business, this this is your opportunity. This is it. It has landed. It is now. There won't be a better time. I don't foresee a lot of jobs coming back into the norm again. There's a lot of jobs that will just disappear. They'll just vanish over time. And you'll go into college and you think you're going to have to do this, this, and this to get that job. And you come out and the job doesn't exist anymore. Disappears, right? So just right now, if you want to do something for yourself, you want to start your own business, you want to start even a side project. And I'm not talking about drop shipping or any of that nonsense you see on TikTok the whole time. I'm talking about an actual business. You want to start something, just even a little side project, just get it moving, get it going. It'll get your brain thinking, it'll get you wondering about what's going to happen next and whether you can get that far. And you just start to live a life of a different breed, because 99% of people, no, less than that, 90% of people are in jobs they don't like because they have to be, because they live that life. So just remember, you could start your own business now. It'd be a good time. Ocean Fergie thought the ban on sale of new diesel and petrol cars only 10 years away, 2030. The ban of use of petrol diesel cars 20 years away, 2040. Has it been changed? No, 2030. Sorry, did I say the wrong numbers? I might have said the wrong numbers if I was saying that. But 2030 is the ban on the sale of new diesel and petrol cars, possibly just straight diesel and petrol, with the idea that 2040 we will stop selling the fuel as well, which just won't happen. I just can't see it happen. I really can't. Do you know how many years we've been trying to ban nuclear arms, and how many years we've been trying to ban oil spillages and oil rigs and cutting down forests and all these things that get promised? They're usually a promise made by politicians who won't be employed when that comes around. It's very easy to sit back and go, in 10 years time I think we're going to have a dome over Ireland so we keep the rain out. Alright, okay. But sure, they only last an election thing 4 years to 8 years, so it doesn't matter if they ever make it. So these long promises are a bit of a problem. There's no way we can generate enough unless you start giving away electric cars. I mean, literally just handing them out for free is the only way you're going to be able to do this. And even then, supply can't keep up with demand. Supply can't meet demand now. Are car companies stopping the production of manuals? Kind of. Yeah, a lot of cars, if you mean the manual gearbox, not the manual that comes with your car. Yeah, sort of. They're reducing the amount of manuals to put out because they can control you better with automatic, because they can predict how it's going to behave over its lifespan. They can predict all sorts of things. But with manuals, there's a clutch and there's things and all sorts of stuff goes wrong with the car over time. I actually prefer, if I was buying an older car, I'd buy a manual. If I was looking at an older car now, 2008, 2009 or 2010, anything in that region, I'd definitely buy a manual, because an automatic would have been trouble. Modern automatics, they don't seem to be much trouble anymore. Just seem to be able to rattle them out and work. Owen Service Now says, what's your opinion on high-end cars fitting fake vents and fake double exhaust pipes? I know he hasn't the pain in the ass, but then it's the visual designer, so it's been designed as if it could have two exhausts on the back, but it doesn't, and the fake vents and things. Design has become very complicated. If you look at the front of an Audi or a front of a Mercedes, it's very there's lines and cuts and arches and weird stuff going on all over the place. So it's become kind of complicated. I wish to go back to kind of simplify it. Mazda still do simple enough designs, still sort of flat designs, very nice. Wrinkly Nuts paid money and it didn't pop up on my screen. I'm terribly sorry. 2019 Jaguar and new Jaguar F-Type thoughts. F-Type's gorgeous. Oh man, F-Type is a fab car. There is nothing beats the noise of that V6. Oh my god, what a sound. Just put the roof down and forget about it. Yes, I would buy one in a heartbeat. The compromise is that you do have to make room. Oh, look at that. Coffee has landed. Woohoo! We must be over halfway through. We are 3:30. We're doing well. The coffee's late, but it's okay. It's here. We're good, but we're slow. F-Type is brilliant. It's a great car. Absolutely brilliant. Phenomenal. I would drive one every single day, but there is a very small boot in it. You could drive it every day, but it's kind of thirsty. Don't buy the V8 or 10 or there's a bigger engine. Just get the V6. It's a brilliant joke. Someone with no username, just 2 dots. Opinion on the first generation Citroen Berlingo 1.9. Berlingos, in my opinion, French Berlingos get treated really harshly, and so they become undependable. It's not really necessarily because the car is crap. It's more because they're bought by people who are going to drive the car every day. They're bought by people who are handymen. They mow lawns, they paint, they're painters' cars, they're decorators' cars, all that. This they're business yokes, you know. So they get driven into the ground and they get sold off second hand. So they become ultimately undependable over time. But it's not because they're crap, just because they're treated harshly. If you get a clean one, to go, okay, my brother drives a Berlingo, a little blue one with little alloys on it. It's really a nice little thing. I like it, but they can be trouble if you get the wrong one. Adrian has paid money by Super Chat to ask a question. Is Orkney Islands the way to go? Yes, actually I was researching Orkney Islands recently. It's fascinating stuff they're doing up there. Electric ferries, all the new housing with electric power stations from old car batteries. Fascinating stuff. Honest to God, what Orkney Islands has done. Now it's small, so it's probably not possible to do this on a massive scale in Ireland, but certainly some of the incentives and some of the ideas, we could literally send a delegation up there. We should be doing this should be done. We should be sending a governmental delegation to not get drunk every 5 seconds like the FAI and have £1 million in their back pocket, but actually to go up there and study how they funded, how they used this money to make this stuff happen, because they are going electric ferries, they've gone wind power, solar power, every kind of power that doesn't have an import on it, so they just generate it from natural resources. And I'd love to have solar panels out there today, but they're too bleeding expensive. What do you think of the Suzuki Jimny? All generations of Suzuki Jimny are fantastic. A little bit hard to drive the early ones. They don't fit. You sit like that in them. But they're fantastic cars, including the modern one. I have not driven a modern one, but it looks gorgeous. Not coming to Ireland, and probably will be gotten rid of. They're bringing a van out now soon. It's a Suzuki Jimny van, which is a way around what they were doing. But it's just, Suzuki, I could break his in half. You're just so slow at getting things done. Don't forget to support the channel. Please be brilliant. Not only by clicking the like button, but if you want to donate to the channel, you can donate by Super Chat. You can donate by PayPal. You can donate by Patreon. Patreon is very good. You can donate any way you like. A fiver in the street is just as good as a fiver on the line. So if you fancy doing that, it's brilliant. You can also support by going to Noah, which is our sponsor. Noah is brilliant. There's a link down below to get 50% discount on a year subscription for Noah. Go and check it out. I think they do samples up front if you want to go in and have a look at a little sample thing and have a listen to it. Quality is very, very good. Any update on 2020 Renault Capture PHEV release? No, everything's gone on service now. Everything's gone on the long finger, kind of, because of COVID-19 lockdown. So factories are only starting to get back up to full speed, and cars are starting to come back out of the factories now and deliveries. So we'll see if we can get any further along with those kind of cars, those PHEVs and things. Whatever happens next would be good though, wouldn't it? Kevin McCormick, hi Bob, is there a new plug-in hybrid Toyota RAV4 coming? Have you heard anything about it? Yeah, there is one coming 2021. It is on the way. I haven't seen it. I mean, I've seen a RAV4. It's going to be a RAV4 with a big hump in the boot, I'm sure. But we'll see if we can get a test of that early on. I'll give Toyota a ring tomorrow at some point and see when it actually will land. But as far as I know, it's going to be going on sale this year, available to order, but I don't know when deliveries are going to happen. Different story entirely. Bob, do you ever think of covering motorbikes? I would, but I don't have a license for riding motorbikes. I used to ride motorbikes years ago, bleeding years ago, like chicken chase and all that sort of stuff, but I don't ride motorbikes now. I suppose I am the target market of motorbikes. If whenever you meet lads out on motorbikes, they're always like dentists and doctors and, you know, old men, not young lads, usually. Bob, you should do a range of t-shirts and hoodies with mugs with Flavin Knights Club. Brian, you know, I like your thinking. I could do. I make those bleeding t-shirts that are in the comments thing down there as well. I have to make that. It's another bleeding part of YouTube I have to do. Like, it's mad, the amount of shit. I have to become a t-shirt designer as well. But yeah, I'll look into that tonight. Flavonites and all that sort of stuff written down across the thing. I am a Flavonite, something like that. That'd be a bit of a laugh. Dylan, what's your top 5 investment cars for future 10k budget each? None. You never know. I've seen these lists come out loads of times and 99% of them are wrong because the value fluctuates on all the cars. And this is always the problem because the value fluctuates so heavily that it drops the car up or down all of a sudden. Like a Ford Escort RS 6 years ago. I know because I tested one 6 years ago for classic cars. 6 years ago you could pick that up for maybe $8,000. Right, you'd be lucky if you got it for 16 or 17 now. Like they go up in value so fast and so quickly for a good one. It's very hard. So there's no real... The only investment cars are ones that survive. So if you hold on to a car long enough, it will go up in value. But you have to hold on to it forever. Craig McDermott, I'm 19, just passed my test and financing my car for first car. Good idea. Yeah, it's alright. Don't do PCP on that because you won't get the value back out of it. Because you will crash, Craig. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. But you will crash the car. I don't mean a serious crash. It'll just be one of those crashes that you rub up against a pole coming out of a car park, or you back into a wall or something. It'll be small, but it'll be something. So if you're financing a car, best way to do it, personally speaking, is to have 50% interest in the car. So you pay out of your own pocket 50% of the value of the car and you finance the rest of it. That's a good way of doing it because then you already own half the car before it ever even hits the road. That's a nice way of doing it if you can. Jim Shed, hello everyone from Jim the bus driver. I've been on sale all day. I haven't been there in a while, have you? We're back driving again. Top Gear thoughts on BBC. Bob thoughts on BMW 330e. Yeah, they're a good car. Not very far in the old range for the electric thing, but it's pretty good. Yeah, nice to get a boost. The boost part is quite nice, but the car feels quite heavy. Heavy, and I mean properly heavy. Paul O'Connor says creaking in Superb and other similar VW type size cars is common, especially going over speed bumps. No, there you go, bit of information. Dave Barry, NCT is out next month, but has been extended, but could still put it through next month. But I can still put it through next month. Sure, if you can put it through the NCT, do it. Like, just get onto the NCT crowd and book in. Don't delay, because you're getting closer and closer to a fail if you just leave it there. So you might, if you can pass it. Like, you might as well. My NCT was broken into 3 halves essentially. We went for the NCT in, I think it's January. My NCT comes up and it's yearly now. Anyway, I put it in through January. There was a problem with the lifts. We couldn't complete the NCT. Then the lockdown happened, and then we were driving around with a piece of paper in the front window. And then we got the NCT done again. We just contacted NCTS, but like we contacted the RSA online, who control the NCT. No, wait the NCT contact you, Bob. Lies. That's not true. You have to contact them yourself. And also, if your license is running out, you can get that updated as well. I know I was asked this morning on TikTok, but your license been updated? I got my license changed out. No problem. Just do that. What's it called? NCTS or something? No, not NCTS. That's NCT. The NDLS, the National Driver Learning Network or something it's called. Go to the website, tick that you want to get a new license. It gives you a date for your local office, and you go up and you walk into a gulag, essentially, dirty hole of an office, overused. Everybody's behind glass, and you sit there like a prisoner getting your picture taken, and then the license comes out in the post. It is as bad as I just made it sound, yeah. Rebecca Walsh, hi Bob, I have a 161 1.4 Polo, got the flywheel, clutch changed, not sure friend mechanic, dealt with it. It sounds like a tractor now and revs itself up when sitting in traffic in first gear. Is this normal? No, you're getting run on there, Rebecca. 161 Polo 1.4. So when you push the clutch in, the clutch separates out. Normally the engine will go into idle at that point. If it's revving up in the middle of it, it means the clutch is not disengaging properly, or it's not engaging properly and sitting there starting to get run on. More fuel has been pushed into the system. Something has gone wrong in the change of flywheel clutch at the same time. It shouldn't do that. It should sit there at 900 RPM, not drifting up to like 1500, 1600. That's a major clutch, not major clutch problem. Don't panic. It's not going to fall out of the bottom of the car or something, but you should definitely go back. I see you have the word sure friend, your friend mechanic. So this is generally what happens when you get Billy, who knows a bit about cars, who's changed a couple of clutches over time, to come and do your clutch, and it'll only cost you 50 quid. This is usually what happens, okay? Because 99% of, I would say 50% of the work that a backstreet mechanic or a non-main dealer mechanic does is to repair the stuff that friends had a go at. Right? I'm telling you, that happens a lot. I wouldn't take a clutch on, and I know how to change the clutch, and I would literally, if the clutch went in my car tomorrow, I would tow it to a dealership and have it fixed. There's just so much crap can happen with a clutch when you're changing them that it's just not worth the effort. John Wynn, any idea? Anyway, sorry, in answer to your question, Rebecca, you should go to another mechanic, or go back to your original mechanic and say, this isn't right. My clutch, there's something wrong with my clutch. It's over revving when I sit at a traffic light. I put my foot in the clutch, the whole thing is starting to rev up and go wild. What's wrong? Is the clutch slipping? Is there anything else happening? So you could be putting it in first and then you let your clutch out and it drops into neutral on you. That's a slippy clutch. Any of that sort of stuff is always a problem with the clutch. John Wynn, any idea will VW bring the Tiguan X to Europe, Ireland? If so, nice. I don't think so. I'm sure I got an email the other day about the Tiguan X being released, but it's not coming. I don't think it's coming, no. Although that things change very quickly when the demand happens. If they think they're going to sell enough of them, they'll bring them. Mark Turner Smith, be great to have a Golf GTE, old or new version. Big price on them now. Prices starting going up in UK rather less than the older. Yeah, well, I actually advised a certain person, a friend of mine, who had bought a Golf GTE to hold on to it for another couple of months, for at least 6 or 8 months before he sell it, because the price was going up and he didn't. He sold it and the price is like doubled on GTEs. And the e-Golf, I also told the guy to hold on to an e-Golf. I said the price of them is going to go up. They're definitely going to go up. No, he didn't know that, and the price has gone up in them as well. Dancy O'Neill, can I get your opinion on the VW Beetle 1.6 auto petrol? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a Golf underneath. Beetle is a Golf. They're all Golfs underneath. 1.6 auto is okay if it's a DSG. I think it is proper DSG box, not the other kind of robotized gearbox they do. But yeah, fine. A bit hard on fuel because they're quite a heavy car, but it's fine. Yeah, if you can get them in convertible, they're brilliant, really nice. Stephen Ryan, hey, what's your opinion on a 2005 petrol Honda Accord 2-litre Mark 7? Won't break, I'll say that for it, that's for sure. Although they do sometimes go through clutches. The 2-litre Mark 7 is coming up to the last version of it, so it's quite nice. It's a lovely thing to drive. It was meant to compete with like the 3 Series. That's what they were after. It's great crack. But they are expensive to get repaired. They're going to be expensive on fuel for sure, because not enough gears in the gearbox, to keep the revs down. So it does eat fuel, like. But that's what you want to do. And where are we? Dan O'Neill says, absolutely loving the TikToks, by the way. Great to see the growth. Keep it up. On the ball, TikTokers. I love my TikTokers, and I love my YouTubers. We have YouTubers and TikTokers. Now we have you're all like much of a muchness. And it's funny because I can see myself like 60 seconds ago on the little screen here as there's a lag. But here I'm live. It's freaky. Keep going, wait, now, what's wrong with that one? But it's okay. It's just behind. Brian Casey, Mark 1, Cupra or Leon are definitely one of the nicest. Yeah, I love the Cupras. Any of the Cupras have been brilliant over the years. Looks deadly. Mark 1 looks deadly as well. They really went wild in Mark 2 where I bought into it, but I like the Mark 1 Cupra. I don't like the Mark 1 normal car. Kevin O'Connor, I have a Peugeot 207 2010. Would probably get nothing for it if I sold it, so I just keep driving until it dies. Am I a big fool? No, you're not. I'm of the kind of same opinion. You're in a 10-year-old, 2010, 10-year-old car. I'm in a 15-year-old car. At this point, selling it would get me nothing. Like, nothing. Who's going to buy it? It's even slightly crashed on the front, but yet it passes all its NCTs. The tax is expensive, but it cost me nothing on fuel. We put about 20 quid a month into that yoke. That's it. Like, once in a while we'll go a little bit further in it, but essentially it's not driven. It's nearly just a spare car sitting there. So why would I bother selling it? To get myself into hock to buy a new car? Nah. Dave Hall. Hi Bob, how are you? I'm fine. Thanks Dave. I'm answering questions from like 45 minutes ago, so I'm slowly catching up on you. Dylan, 10k each, top 5. Oh, we did that one. Mark King, Peugeot 407. Thoughts? 407 will break your heart. Lovely car, but it's going to break your heart. They go wrong. All kinds of electrical issues with them. Power steering pump failures as well as another one. Independent front suspension is pretty good. The rear suspension is pretty good, but the shock absorbers do tend to take a hammering over time. Most of them are sales rep cars, and they do get some leaks into the boot. How's that for like a 60-second review? Man, I'm on fire. That's the coffee. My missus just brought me a cup of coffee, and that's literally the coffee that's kicking in. Coffee kick, like VTech kick in, Brian O'Donnell, you're very generous. Thank you, Brian. Dynamic frame. Regarding PCP, best option is just to hand the car back in the finance company. If the car is worth less, then the balloon payment, they take the hit and not the customer. The part exchange dealership thoughts on PCP. So I did a whole video on financing your car and PCPs and financing through banks and all that sort of stuff. PCP is good if you don't know where you're going to be in 3 years. So if you think you're going to lose your job over the next 3 years, or you're not sure what's going to happen to your employment over the next 3 years, if you think you can get through 3 years of payment, at the end of it, then you just hand the car back. If all things have gone wrong in your life, you just go, here's the keys, good luck, and you're gone. And as long as the car covers the balloon payment at the end, if you treated it well and you kept your mileage down, it'll be fine, and it won't stand against you in the future. It's not going to come up as a problem in your finance history. So PCP is only really good for that. Other than that, PCP ties you to the dealership for the next 3 years. So you must get it serviced in the dealership. You must obey this. You must obey that. And so it's a way of dealership to control you. I'm a big fan of buying 50% of the car yourself and actually putting the money forward to buy at least 50% of the car and then finance the rest of it, depending on the value. If you can afford to buy 100% of the car for cash, do it. Like if you can get away with driving a 2010 Panda for like $2,000 and that's all you have, do it. Because if you're clever enough, you'll be able to service it yourself and look after yourself and fix things on your own. You won't have to worry about spending money on it. So all you got to do is put up with the tax, and tax is tax, lads. You just have to pay the tax. There's nothing you can do about it. Maminsk has landed. My 2018 Honda Accord's tyres are now 532 NDS after 16,000 miles. As I enjoy driving their original Goodyear Eagle Touring, the dealer said mileage warranty doesn't exist on OE tyres. Why can I do anything? So you said there's no warranty on what? There is a warranty on tyres. Of course there's a warranty, but the warranty will expire after time. So there'll be a time warranty rather than, well, there might be a kilometre and time warranty. Obviously the Consumer Goods Act here covers the purchase of a physical thing in a shop, so tyres would be no different. They'd be still covered under Consumer Goods Act. So I don't get what's wrong with your tyres though. Tell me, what do you mean, what's after happening to your tyres? Have they broken apart? Have they fallen apart or something? What's going on? Like, it would have to be something catastrophic, I suppose. Other than that, tyres are natural worn parts, so they naturally break down over time anyway. Like, tyres are not infinite. 1965 Dunk. Hi Bob, your thoughts on 2006 Mercedes SL350? Just bought one. Great car, brilliant car, really good engine now, solid. Like, it'll keep on trucking forever. It'll probably outlast the car, to be honest with you. But SLs are gorgeous. Like, such a pretty car, such a handsome thing to have on the road. It's great to keep them alive for as long as possible. Learn to service that one yourself. There is track rod end problems on the front. It does do it a lot, but that's kind of the nature of those older Mercedes, or those kind of 2000 to 2010 Mercedes. All had a problem with their track rod ends, every one of them. You need to keep them in stock. They do knock after a time, but not a big deal. It's just, you'll hear a knocking on the front, particularly when turning left or right. But other than that, it's a great car. Danzy says, how can I get your opinion on VW? I did that already. That's why I gave you that. National Scallywag. That sounds worrying. Zurich gives a previous quote with their new quote. I got €40 reduction on a quote when I rang them. Best price for second year running. You see, phoning makes the best sense. Phone the insurance company. Don't be using the online system to get my quote. Look, my insurance is going up by €200. I guess I'll just have to pay it. Nope. Edgy number one. Hi Bob, what's your rules regarding engine swaps? I want to put a GM. What are the rules? I want to put a GM Z32 SE V6 from Omega into a Corsa C. Are you sure that can be done? How would you get the gearbox? Alright, go on then. Yes, it can be done. There's even a kit. Oh, there's a kit, right, okay. However, would the vehicle authorities allow this? Your insurance would have to be notified. That would be the very first thing. And you would have to change... You'd have to change the logbook somehow, because otherwise when you go to the NCT, they're going to be... Well, no, in fairness, the NCT is just going to look for emissions. They don't give a shite what kind of engine's in there. They just want to know what the emissions are, right? But you would have to definitely insure the car for a different engine, because that's a much bigger engine than the Corsa C would normally have. But I can't work out how you'd get the gearbox underneath. I know the kit must be there, but you must lose some space inside the cabin of a because a gearbox of an Omega is massive, like a big thing, and the gearbox in the Corsa you can pick up in your hands. But yes, I get what your point is, but you could definitely do it for sure. But just notify your insurance company that it's changed. You may have to notify the system of the logbook system. You know, the NCT system that does the logbooks on the cars to say that the engine has been changed out. I'd be very interested to see how that works out for you. Please send me pictures. bobflav@thenextgear.com. I'd be dying to see how you can get an Opel Omega V6 engine into a Corsa. Annie McPhee says gap insurance is insurance to cover the loss of depreciation between buying a new car for 40 grand and later as years written off. Value insurance, a payout might be 25 grand. It bridges the gap. You insure the valuation. Wow. I know nothing about that. I don't know anything about gap insurance. I'll tell you now straight off. Never heard of it before. Dancy O'Neill, can I get your... done that. Bloody hell, Dancy. It bridges the gap of what might be still owed on the likes of finance. Okay. Stephen Ryan, Honda Accord Mark 7 2 did that one as well. Seamus O'Leary, hi Bob, just bought a Lexus IS 200 02, 134,000 miles, full Lexus history, opinion please. Be fine. It's a Lexus, what could go wrong with it? Unless it's been ragged, and if it has a full Lexus history, it hasn't been ragged, because the people who rag them service them themselves or don't service them at all, so you'll be fine. It'll be okay. It's a Lexus, what could go wrong? There's tons of parts, tons of service kits out there, and tons of owner groups. You know, you can kind of get together with other owners and ask them questions about their cars too. And there's a whole network of people that owns IS200s on TikToks, because I keep seeing them, yellow ones, millions of them. Gap insurance has disappeared from the market. It will have to pay almost 500 quid to a dealer. Whoo! Dynamic Frame says gap insurance covers the shortfall between insurance payout and finance owed. Lots of dealers in the UK sell it and make a decent profit out of it. That's crazy. I personally have always had gap and never have a brand new leased car. Tom Quimby says ID3 looks nice. Anyway, Alan Fitzgerald, gap insurance, car written off, the insurance pays the difference between the insured value of the car and the amount needed to buy a new car. That's mad. Remember your ID3 review be out? It'll be all week on TikTok and Instagram and places like that, so I'll be from the minute I start picking it up, I'll be starting to talk about it. But the actual video review here on YouTube will be out on either Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning. For you, Marty, because you're a subscriber, it'll be 24 hours before. So for you guys, it'll probably be Tuesday night, I'd say. If I can get it, it depends on the weather, of course, as usual. But if I can get it filmed on Monday or Tuesday, I'll have it out Tuesday night, Wednesday morning at the latest. Oisin Walsh, which is better, Toyota 2-litre D4D or VW 2-litre TDI? Better in what way? They're both fairly dependable cars, equivalent kind of horsepower. D4D would be a little bit easier to service. 2-litre TDI would be fairly sensitive on fuel, so if you put in dirty diesel into it, it's just going to break. That's it. But they're much of a muchness, to be honest with you. I would be happy with either engine. I have a gazillion questions still to get through. You guys have absolutely nailed it today. Where did you all come from? I'm just scrolling back up now. Hold on. I'll get to you eventually. What happens is this thing just goes chunk and zooms forward, and I go to the very last question, which could be an hour from now before I get to that question. There's the engine swap one. Gap insurance. There, we're nearly there now. We're getting there now. Here we are. You're all having questions between yourselves. Clover Video, hi Bob, do you think a Ford Kuga is a great off-road car when compared to a Jeep Wrangler or Range Rover? No. Kuga's not bad off-road, but the Jeep Wrangler will keep going up anything. Now, hard enough on fuel, but Wrangler will keep going anywhere. Range Rover, you'll be there very comfortably and you'll break down when you get there and won't be able to get back. But that's a Range Rover. Ford Kuga is actually not a bad car as a daily car driver around the place, but I would certainly pick a Jeep Wrangler just to be cool. Jeep Wrangler's just cool on its own. Lotus use Toyota engines that don't break down. No, but the whole car falls asunder around it. Have you ever driven a Lotus? They just rattle and vibrate and fall apart. They all do. And only some of them use Toyota engines. Don't they use Ford engines as well, Lotus? Mark King, 1.6 Peugeot 407. It's going to break your heart, Mark. It's going to break your heart. I'm telling you. 407, they don't survive very well. They look okay, but everything inside them breaks. Carmelone, hope you're well. I'm fine. Love the channel. Looking at trading my Volkswagen Scirocco TDI up to the north as it worth doing it. Looking at BMW or Audi 5 door, Audi A5 that'd be. What would you recommend? Thanks. What are you trading? Scirocco. What do you want to trade a Scirocco? What's wrong with Scirocco? But anyway, looking for something new. You could have anything you want, really, if you trade in. Set your mind on something, is the way I do it. Drive something and kind of go, I like a BMW. I'm going to go look at BMWs and then go after a 3 Series or Audi A5, or don't get an A4. I'd still, I think a 3 Series is really good, but it's kind of done. Like, there's so many of them on the road. They're everywhere. Everybody has one. You know, so many people has an Audi A3. So I'd be worried about that part. And the same for the Audi A4. BMW 3 Series, Mercedes C-Class is a little bit rarer. They're quite nice. Try and get a rear-wheel drive if you can as well, just to liven things up a bit. Thoughts on the Datsun 260Z as a classic car. Also ideas of getting a vintage insurance as a young driver. No, vintage, well, it depends on your age, obviously. Vintage insurance is available for cars over 20 years old, and the driver has to be over 25. So that's vintage insurance is outside of anything. It doesn't matter what the car is. If it's not over 20 and the insuree, the person getting insured, isn't over 25, they're not going to insure you anyway. But 260Z or anything with the word Datsun on the back of it is super cool. Absolutely super cool. And anything with Z in it, Nissan or Datsun, is super cool. So yes, a brilliant car, but unfortunately the old insurance company's going to nail you, because if you're not over 25 you're not considered a driver for some strange reason, even though you could be driving there for 6-7 years since you got your license. Thomas Heiler, anything I didn't miss on there, Mark. Everything getting back to normal here in New Orleans, getting ready for another hurricane. Sally is coming our way next day or two, still driving my 2006 Dodge Ram, 1,500 quid. I love it. Dodge Ram. It's a great word, isn't it? I love the American names of words, things. The name after car, Cougar, Puma, and all that sort of stuff. It's cool. Nathan Martin, just to prove that on the phone is better for insurance, I got the first time insurance on a 2015 Audi A3 S-Line 2D TDI for €1,800 fully comp after fighting about getting a quote for $3.5 grand. That's some saving, isn't it? That is a huge saving. Massive. Well done, Ned. See, on the phone you can talk to people, talk to a human. It's very hard to get to a human, but when you get to one, you need a bit of patience. That's why I say take a day off, sit down with your phone on speaker, pair of headphones or something, and just do it that way. Thoughts on the old Land Rover Defender. I hope, Jack Charge, you have really deep pockets. They are super cool, but dear God, you need a sledgehammer to get anything fixed on them. They're very hard to work on, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, Land Rover. I know the army hedges and all that sort of stuff, but when it breaks down and you want to get under the bloody car, you want to get up, everything is in like the back of the engine somewhere. But they are super cool and going up in value all the time. The old original Land Rover Defenders are going up in value every day. So definitely worth an investment, but they will break your heart if you don't know what you're doing. There's a good Land Rover group on Facebook that is actually very active and will be worth joining if you're interested in it. Edgy Number has donated some money. Said Corsa V6 swap. The gearbox is a Getrag F23 standard equipment on the Vectra V6 and the Corsa GSI Tiger 1.8. Oh, I did not know that. Oh, that's different. I was picturing the big the massive, I don't know why I thought that Opel had the big gearbox. I can't even name it a gearbox now, but I know what you're talking about. The one that fits in nicely will actually fit there. Yeah, pretty cool. That's a pretty cool kit, man, to put in there. I'd love to see that car. Is driving in sport turbo for long periods of time bad for your car? No, if the button's there, it's meant to be pressed. That's pretty much it. I had the Audi RS7 here for a week and I put it into RS mode every time I started the car. And didn't take it out till I finished because it roars along. It was great. No, you should have no problem with that. Putting in sport or turbo mode for a long period of time, you should be fine. Adrian Nelson says Melton Mowbray is a rural capital of food, home at the pork pie. I was right. I knew it. Stilton and fox hunting. I have a coffee shop too. More coffee. See, I have to drop into there, Adrian Nelson, get a cup of coffee and a pork pie. I love pork pies. They're really bad for me, but I love pork pies. We sometimes go up and just buy 6 pork pies up in the shop and just eat them with a bit of mustard. Warm, of course. Stephen Ryan, 2005 Honda Car 2-litre petrol. I had that one already. We've done that. It's a good car, yeah. Martin Smith says VW Up GTI has to win the best TikTok 1-litre car challenge, definitely. Rare as hen's teeth, but if you can get a VW Up GTI, they're brilliant jokes. How does vintage tax and NCT work? Same as normal tax and NCT. It's the same. If your car is under a certain level, it has to be NCT, so it still goes through like a normal NCT. There's no difference in that whatsoever. With vintage insurance is cars that are over 20 years old. It's also limited by mileage, by the way, so be very careful going for vintage insurance. It sounds cheap at first until you realise you can only do 5,000 kilometres a year or something, so be careful of that one. Bob, how do you rate the VW Passat 2012 1.6 diesel? Underpowered, but very economical. Like you're not going to be ragging that one too much because there's not much power there in the first place, but it's pretty economical, handy enough to service as well, and it's a Passat, like not much going to go wrong with it. Just watch out for high mileage ones, they eat water pumps. Carmelone, hi Bob, I hope you're well, love the channel, thanks. Lovely. Looking at trading up a Volkswagen Scirocco. Did that. You know, I'll ask questions over and over again. Hey Bob, opinion on a Volvo C70 Coupe Mark 1 9702. Gorgeous, weird but gorgeous. Be careful of those old Volvos. They had a 5-cylinder engine. They were pretty good, but they would just fire off the timing belt just randomly as you're driving on the road. Timing belt falls off. Change them on schedule. If you buy one of those, the first thing you do is change the timing belt. It's the very first day one is changing the timing belt on a Volvo. I mean, that's what Volvo's over there as well. See, the Volvo's there and the Volvo's there. Same Volvo. But yeah, really good car. Who did that one? Apollo, what website do you recommend getting your first car on? None. From a dealership. Done Deal is the one that most people would use. Carzone would be heavily dealership orientated. Done Deal would be ones that are more private sales, so it just depends on which one you're looking for, whether you want a private sale or not. Adverts.ie is there as well, but their car listing is pretty ropey at times. I would strongly advise anyone looking for a first car to bring someone with you who actually knows about cars, and not Paddy up the road who knows a little bit about backstreet cars. Someone who actually knows what they're doing, a mechanic, someone. Even look, if you gave a lad €50 in his hand to come with you to look at a car, a mechanic, they'd come and they'd tell you straight off what's wrong with the car, because that's what they do. Mechanics are looking for stuff to do the whole time. So, you know, get someone to come along with you and have a look at the car and just give them a slab of beer or something, you know, anything. I've done this in the past multiple times when you're buying cars. You bring someone with you who's worked on the car before, so you have some idea what's going on, because it's scary to know that you're going to wind up with a piece of crap, you know. Dylan says, hi Bob, what business opportunities do you see in the future of the car industry for the small guy? Anything electrical, Dylan. Anything at this point, recycling batteries, getting power to cars, getting power from houses to cars, reverse engineering stuff. So taking something that is already operational, making it better is the only real way forward in most stuff. But if you can think about solar, think about wind power, it's that kind of stuff. It's the power generation where you're coming from. How does power get to the car? That's where your study needs to be. That's where you need to work at. When it comes to the car industry, it's the transformation of the motors inside the car that's actually going to be the big thing. That's going to be the biggest issue of all. Is fixing these things. What happens when a motor breaks? Don't tell me they don't break. Of course they're going to break. So what happens when they break? Can you fix them? Can you repair them? Can you recycle them? All of that is the end of life stuff that people are worried about. These electric cars are going to be disposable in comparison to the stuff we have on the road right now. I'm telling you 100%, because I know even just getting into most electric cars, you feel all the light crap plastic to put into them. They're just going to be disposable. Irish Runner, any point in selling a 2010 just got 2 years NCT on it? Not really. You're not going to sell it for a profit, probably not. Like 2010 is a 10-year-old car. At this point, why not hold on to it for 5, 6, 7 more years and save up for an electric car? They'll be gone down in price by then. You know, you have a 15-year-old car in 5 years' time. If it's still running and it's still okay, and it's not giving you any trouble, and it's not costing you a bloody fortune to keep it on the road, then sure, hold on to it. Paul Fun says, do you any big American cars on Irish Road? I moved to Ireland. Can I bring my Cybertruck? No, we don't want your Cybertrucks. Get out. Wait, Cybertruck. Where you at? It wouldn't fit. Are you kidding? Do you think you're going to get a Cybertruck down any road in Kerry? What cars are you in this week, Bob? I don't know. ID3 and a Peugeot. No, is it an Opel? Opel Grandland X, I think, is the other car I have this week. And currently outside the door is a Peugeot 3008, which is a PHEV model, and I've just had an Audi RS7. So it's been the RS7. I miss it. I will miss it for the rest of my life. There will be a hole in my heart where the RS7 used to be. That's the problem. The Butcher, we finally got our Ford S-Max up north. Got 2017 titanium with 28,000 miles on it. It's a 2-litre diesel. I'm selling out a 2015 Leaf. So you've gone from Leaf back to a diesel S-Max, and that is a story I hear a lot these days. Very quietly, very little DMs, little tweets of people who bought an electric car early on, and instead of moving from electric to electric, they went, no, I want to go back to the diesel. It's much easier. So it is happening, unfortunately, and that's not just an incentive thing. It's also just an effort thing. Some people just don't want to put an effort into a car. They just want to put diesel in and just go on. Surprised at the engine the S-Max made my Peugeot Citroen. My Polo sounds like a tractor, and I like it that way. That's okay. If you like it, it's fine. Stay the way it is. Although a noisy engine can be bent valves, and it can be coking inside the cylinders and stuff as well. So, Ocean Froggy suspects they might be cheating to hide a diesel engine to charge the battery in the ID3. I don't think they'll be doing that somehow. Now, this is Volkswagen here. Volkswagen are squeaky clean at the moment and will not be doing any of that sort of stuff, which is very good. We're running over time. We have been streaming for a very long time and have millions of questions to go yet. Any news on VW ID4? Love your show from Toronto. Hi, Kevin from Toronto. You're very kind to be here. ID4, we've seen pictures of it. We keep seeing pictures of it, just like we did with the ID3. It's coming, is the best answer. The Skoda Enyaq seems to be the ID4, as far as I can make out in the system of things at the moment. So the Enyaq we've actually seen in the metal. Haven't driven it yet. It is coming, but not till next year. So it will be on the channel for sure at some point. Hopefully ID4 will be improvement. You know, they need to continue to improve the battery technology behind it, because the battery technology currently is a bit rough here and there. Michael Conway, opinion on a supercharged FN2 Type R if you've driven one 450 brake horsepower with LSD. I haven't driven a 450 brake horsepower Type R for sure. You could supercharge FN2, could you? Yeah, you could. Yeah, I suppose. But Type R is always very hard. It's going to be ferociously hard on fuel at 450 brake horsepower, but then that's probably what you're after, in fairness. Superchargers are less kind of punchy than turbos, a proper turbo, even though a supercharger and turbo is kind of the same thing. It supercharges the exhaust gases, but essentially you get a more smooth feel to a supercharger as it starts to go forward, but there's a lot more belts involved, so they can be great, but it's a bit weird. Dylan says, how are you, Bob? What business? Oh, yes, you know already. Paul Bergen, fellow Laois man. Come on, Laois is the only county we're talking about in Ireland. We're out of lockdown, by the way. I'm thinking about buying a 2017 Outlander PHEV. Is it suitable for a 50-mile daily commute, or am I better to stay with diesel? I have a Superb and I want to change. Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. 50-mile daily commute in a PHEV. If you're willing to plug in on both ends, you'll only run on electricity. That's the best I can say to you. If you drive on a full tank of electricity to your work, the engine might not even start. That might be the way to go. So I would say yes, definitely change that one over, Paul. Anyway, he says, you walk outside, get in the lay-on, and it goes bang. Not economical to repair. What would you buy tomorrow to replace it with on the spot? A Volkswagen Up or a Skoda Citigo Monte Carlo, maybe, or your Skoda, your the Octavia you have, maybe. No, I don't know. I'd probably buy a 1 litre petrol, because, electric is just too expensive. I could probably buy a Generation 1 Nissan Leaf, but it would just drive me up the wall having to charge. The range has gone so short on the Generation 1s now, you know, it's just so much hassle. I'd probably just buy a 1 litre petrol thing. Plus, I like tinkering with engines. Hi Bob, Toyota CHR or Nissan I can't say Nissan. Nissan Qashqai, says Nsubo. I would go CHR. Qashqai is fairly tired now. If you're looking at new ones, CHR is super slick and super modern, and now it comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Nissan Qashqai also comes with that, but it's kind of tired on the inside. I find them a little bit tired looking. They just look kind of old, like they're 5 or 6 years old at this stage. Michelin. Thoughts on the Audi S5 Sportback? Beautiful car. S5 is a more economical version of RS5, you know what I mean? Smaller engine, still get tons of performance, lots of noise, lots of envious looks at them, and they go very well, but you actually get a bit of fuel economy as well. You can definitely service that yourself even. Not that hard. Thoughts on a Fiesta ST200? Great car. Any of the STs are always good. Adrian is heading away. Thanks, Adrian, you're very good, thank you very much, bye bye. Engine swap vehicle details RF111 from 11. Here we go. Keith Colton has taught us how to do the engine swap with the tax thing properly. If you're doing an engine swap, you change the vehicle details form RF111 with the new engine details, an engineer's report from a main dealer, SIMI, and notify the insurer. So it's a bit of a faff to go. You have to go to a main dealer to get it done. Weird that. Martin Smith, I would be leaping at Sirocco TDI, Mark 3 and a Mark 5 Golf GTI platform enclosed. The sexy models were lol. It's true, yeah. They were brilliant jokes. Jeff Maher, hi Bob, love your channel. Ordered a Toyota Corolla Sport Tourer 1.8 hybrid instead of a VW Golf, mainly because of the lack of knobs on the Golf. Driving a Skoda Octavia 1.4 TSI DSG at the moment. That was a good choice actually. I do like Corollas. And I shouldn't really, because they're not terribly powerful, or they're not really a motoring journalist kind of. Yes, it turns in nicely crispy on the corner, but it's still such a handsome looking car. It's just really, really stylish. There's a one that drives around Portlaoise. It's white with a black roof. It's the hatchback one, and it's so pretty, just a pretty car. And I think really the key of happy ownership is being happy looking at the car outside the door. It doesn't even have to drive very well if it just looks nice. What do you think a car would be the best for doing driving instructions? Petrol, diesel or electric? Is there a problem with regulations but gearboxes need to be manual? Okay, so for driving lessons, if you're taking lessons and you take lessons and you take your test in an automatic, you are only qualified to drive an automatic from there on out. You are not qualified to drive a manual car on your license. It will be a restricted license to automatics only. So I would strongly advise if you're giving lessons to give lessons in a manual car, because if you qualify as a manual car driver, you can drive anything, automatics, manuals, whatever, okay, DSGs and any of the gearboxes, you can drive them all once you're qualified as a manual. So petrol, manual, because petrol's more predictable. Diesels are, you want something with a light clutch, you want something like an Opel Corsa is pretty good, 1.2 Corsa. Honda Civics are pretty good as well. Maybe Kia Picantos, any of that sort of stuff. They're all those kind of small cars that first time drivers like the look of, that they can see out of, that they can see the end of the dash. You don't want a great big long bonnet like a big 3 Series or something. It looks tilly. STGPC, whatever that means, says blades for the wind turbines cannot be recycled. They are buried in landfill, not very green in that respect. There you are. There's information for you about your wind power, which isn't very green, seemingly. Jeff Maher, hi Bob, love your channel. Did that one already? Did that. What's the best luxurious estate SUV you get for under 25 grand? Luxurious and under 25 grand doesn't necessarily go together. You can get any car under 25 grand. Any car. Literally, if you just go back far enough, no matter what, you can get a Range Rover, you get a Rolls Royce for 25 grand if you really try hard enough. So just to figure out which one you want. Good show today, well done, great seeing your success. Thanks Paul, much obliged. Boys, listen, you got to check out the Noah thing. If you could sign up, it really does help the channel and it really makes it easy conversation, of course, with a sponsor, when the sponsor gets something out of it as well. It's 60 quid a year. It's a 50% discount and it's on the link down below. So click on that link down there. If you don't want to use the link, then go over to the Noah website called newsoveraudio.com and click on sign up there and use the code FLAVIN for a full 50% discount off that one as well. And anything that you get, I get a little bit out of as well, but you're not being charged extra. You're getting a 50% discount, but I get a little cut out of that. So if you want to support the channel that way, you can. You can also do it, of course, by PayPal, which is directly to me, or you can do it by Patreon, or you can do it by Super Chat, or you can do it by channel memberships here. The benefits of Patreon and channel memberships is you get to see the videos 24 hours early. And you get to have kind of direct conversations, or more direct conversations with me over text. You want to do that as well. I am, of course, on TikTok, which the TikTok people have been here for a long time. Still doing TikToks all the time. And I'll keep that up for as long as I can. And it's brilliant to have you all here on the Sunday service. It's been a really busy day. It's been, I think, 2,500, nearly 3,000 people have watched this. So it's been really busy. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you will mind yourself for the rest of the evening. Don't drink too much wine and take it easy on the alcohol stuff. Formula 1 I think is over now. I don't know who won. I don't know who won, so I've been paying attention to that. Or you just meandering around the place doing stuff. Hopefully you will get through the rest of this week that's coming up. Relax, take it easy, it's okay. The week will end and we'll all get through again to next Sunday, where I'll be here again from 2 o'clock. Starting to look a little wintry out there every once in a while, isn't it? You just know. Do you know it's only about 17 or 16 weeks or something to Christmas? Just thought you'd know, in case you need to, put aside some money there to play and buy your kids presents and things. Anyway, thank you. Look after yourselves. Any support you give me today, I'm very appreciative. Thank you very much. We're going to be upgrading everything later on this year. I'm going to be upgrading my cameras and my stuff and all the things around the edge. I'm hoping by next year to be in a position where we'll have a camera person working with me on a more permanent scale or as needed, so wherever that's possible, that will probably be on the way as well. And all of that support comes down to you guys. It's all the way you guys have done. I really hope it works out for everyone, and look after yourselves. And until the next time here on YouTube, and I'll be going in a minute on TikTok, but until the next time here on YouTube, I will see you on the far side.